I'm good.
We're good. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the June meeting of the Old Lyme Zoning Commission. This evening at the table, alternate Mary Gardner Coppola. We have our full-time members, 4 in a row, Mary Jo Nozel, Michael Foliano, Denise Savageau, myself, Paul Orzel. Our documenter, Amy Watt, full-time member and secretary, Jane Marsh, alternate Michael Peter Barnes. Also at the table is land use, our land use director, Eric Knapp. All right, before we begin the meeting, is there any public comment that anyone would like to make? Now, we do have one public hearing on the agenda along with some other items, but is there any public comment anyone would like to make? Sir.
Yeah, Scott Langer, 18 Pond Road, Line. Just like to try to, I haven't come to too many zoning meetings, but one of the unfortunate things that I found out is that not having a Teams connection, those that want to listen in on zoning can't. And on top of that, if there needs, try to save themselves a few dollars, not having to have folks come down here, try to do it through Teams, unless it's a major presentation, be beneficial to allow Teams meeting to have a presentation made if they can supply all the information to the zoning commission prior, so you would have everything there. Case in point, Miami Beach, unfortunately, was forced to spend quite a few dollars to have engineers come down there twice, costing us anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 out of our monies just to have them present here. They have to sit through a meeting for 2 hours before they're heard. So that would be the only other comment I would have, that if there is folks that people do presentations or you listen to, that they'd be offered to state their case ahead of any zoning meetings or items that need to be done by the committee outside of public. The public should be up front with whatever issues that be new business, old business, whatever. Just trying to. I know I sat the last meeting I came here. I had to sit here for an hour and a half waiting for the actual meeting to be heard from all the different people that were in the audience to be heard. So it's just a comment. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Quick question. Are we making comments on all the parts of the agenda tonight, or just
The public comment could be on anything.
what will we kind of talk? I'm just more curious about the staging areas. Will there be discussion during that?
Staging areas for,
We're receiving that application tonight and getting sort of an introduction on it. The public hearing on that will not be tonight. The public hearing will be set for a future date.
Okay, I would just like, would this be an appropriate time to make a quick comment on that now?
If you'd like,
Yeah.
quick comment.
So just for clarification, if you make comment now, we'll hear it. But if you want it on the record, you have to comment during the public hearing when we set that.
Okay. I just didn't want to interrupt the meeting. There will be discussion on it tonight, correct?
there won't be discussion. We are gonna,
I mean,
we're gonna be hearing from some of the folks on that committee. We're receiving the application, but we may not set a date for the public hearing. We may or we may not. So, but you can, like Denise said, you can make a comment, but your more formal document and documented comment will be at the public hearing, which is yet to be scheduled.
okay. I would like to make a quick comment
Okay.
on that.
Go right ahead.
Appreciate you explaining this to me. My concern is, and my name is Bill Reynolds from the board now. My concern is we've been through this before. I've been here before. And it was part of the water project. They absolutely made our 3 houses on that street, for no better term, a living hell. And now we've talked about this. We made some different, laws to try to protect the residents of Old Lyme. And for this to be on the table again, take 753 days away from us, to lose our houses, our homes, our yards. It's absolutely absurd. It makes me want to cry. The 2 years of that water project, it was terrible. I wanted to sell a house and find a new home. Finally, love this town, but to do this again, to have the trucks, the noise, the slamming, breathing is unheard of. There's health issues with my 3 neighbors. There's concerns about water drainage because our wells are right there. Have industrial zones in this town. We have other places in this town. It does not have to be in a residential area. This is Gordon Avenue one is a little different than the other two because it is residential and it's not commercially zoned. But it's designed to be a baseball field for kids. Now, we're going to end up with dioxide chemical plant at the end of the project. So we're going to want to get tortured for 752 days, and as a thank you, we have a chemical plant in my backyard. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have any public comments? Okay. Then let's move on to through our agenda. Zoning regulations rewrite. Eric, what do we have?
Well, I passed out what I make prepared for the comments from last Thursday.
This Thursday, yeah.
I'm not sure if there's any discussion you'd like to have regarding the agenda item really for this evening is we need to set a workshop date for sort of other commissions, committees to join us in sort of analyzing the public comment and then distilling that into what we think we want to do for new regulations. And we had said we were going to try and do that about 2 weeks out from the public comments date. So again, tonight's meeting would be a perfect opportunity for you guys to sort of sit down and figure out when you'd like to hold that workshop so that Craig can get notice out to it and we can start making sure that everybody who wants to attend is able to attend.
Okay. So we've got,
Eric, can you clarify, are you talking about workshop or the focus group to follow the environmental?
Call that a workshop in our plan, I think. No, I think that,
On the housing or what?
no, I'm sorry. The session with the various committees and commissions to refine the,
Yes.
Okay.
Focus
That's
group.
the focus group.
the focus group.
I'm sorry, focus groups. Okay, let's call them what they are. I'm using the wrong term.
That's okay.
Focus group for the previous public session we just had. Okay, that's what I'm looking to try and pin down a date for, so we can go out and set a meeting up for that.
So one of the things we had said on that, Eric, was we were gonna try to, we want to make sure we're not setting it on the date of one of the agency meetings. So, and try to somewhat work with them. But I don't know if we've heard back from any of those agencies yet. As you know, one of our challenges has been, we're not sure everyone is getting the emails or opening the emails, I should say. We know they're getting them. But the difference being is some of them are going to the town generic email address for a commission rather than to the chairman's personal email address so that he will open it or she will open it. So
We got from Katie today all of their personal email addresses, and Craig sent everything back out to the personal email addresses to sort of try and make sure that we're covering all our bases here. So
Okay.
We only heard back from a couple of commissions assigning us representatives, but none of them have really said that they necessarily have to be at this meeting versus some other meeting. So I think part of what we're going to do after this, and if you want to pick a couple of dates, so I can sort of give them some options, is go back out to all of our boards and commissions and say, we will be meeting on this date or possibly another date. Would you like to attend and help us prepare, or refine, or however you want to call it, the public input in a way that will allow us to draft regulations following the public input. So again, I think we're just going to give that blanket out to everybody and have them come back with whatever their thoughts are. And again, we do have a couple of commissions that have given us representatives. We'll make sure that we use the representatives who've been given. For those that haven't chosen a representative, we'll just give it back to the chairs at their private email addresses now that we have those.
So,
And in this one, we have FEC that's definitely gonna be a
Mhm.
significant player. They've responded, right? They were in advance, they responded.
well, some of them have already given us information, but that's different than coming to a program, another workshop with the focus groups.
Do we need to wait until they've all responded or?
I wouldn't do that. I think we can give Eric some dates. I guess, Eric, are you looking at holding? So one of the things we heard from our consultant was that he was looking that as long as he had comments on that first environmental section by the end of July, that it would be good. Obviously, we want to meet with the boards, kind of go over stuff with them and, get some of their feedback as well, but also allow them to go back to their meetings in July. So I'm thinking we should do something towards the end of June. I would love to push it off later than that. But, we either have to do it early, very early July, which is always a problem, as we know, because it's the 4th, but also,
It'll be a bad week.
yeah, but so do you have any thoughts on, your schedule or what would work? Just with those things in mind?
25-1.
Yeah, so we have that,
Yeah,
and we have that scheduled.
That's July 1st. We know that,
Right.
that's date is for sure. So the week of, again, the 22nd to 26th, you'd have no meetings. But let me see.
We've got Inland Wetlands meets the 23rd.
I was going to say, I know Inland Wetlands is meeting that week. ZBA meets the week before. So you would have basically the Monday or Wednesday or Thursday of that week to play with.
Do we want to have the folks feel okay if we, and who can make it to the focus group, but work with the focus group, but to try to hold. The other thing is we had talked about trying to get Rivercog
To help facilitate.
to help facilitate that discussion as well. So, I mean, I can make that week work, but I'm gonna, what do you think, Mike?
Everybody else.
We're
I mean,
talking the week of the 22nd.
We should probably wait until, Wetlands has their meeting on the 23rd and do it Wednesday or Thursday, just to give them the option of finishing anything up, or if Monday works,
Yeah,
then
they don't need to have comments made to us. We're trying to, I think we're gonna ask them to look at this.
Yeah.
They're still gonna have, I'm looking at having it so that they can have in July, if they have any other comments, then they can send written stuff in. Or get back, or with the liaison stuff, go back and forth with us about stuff.
then yes, then Monday, Wednesday or Thursday. Monday, Wednesday or Thursday.
Monday,
My preference would be Thursday. If that's what if you're looking at dates, I can also do Monday.
Well, second Thursday.
Monday or Thursday works for me.
Question, are you gonna try to get Rivercog
I would like to try and get them to facilitate, so we're going to need to see what dates they might be available as well.
that Thursday? They have their CRGC meeting.
No,
It's gonna
Yeah.
work.
so we're looking then at the Monday, if that's,
Or the Wednesday, the 24th was the other day you said?
yeah.
Yes,
I could do Wednesday, the 24th as well.
Like Wednesday.
Okay, Mary Jo, Wednesday
I'm
doable
okay with Wednesday.
for you or not?
Make it work.
Okay, well, then let's aim for
Wednesday, good?
Wednesday
Okay.
and see what Rivercog can say.
What time are we looking at?
Let's do 6:30 to 9. 6:30 to 8:30?
9:30?
Yeah, 6 or 8, but do 6 or
No.
2 hours is good, 6 or
6:30 to
8.
8:30.
30, that sounds great. If we go over, we go over.
You're on Pacific time there, yeah, Asian time, so maybe.
No, I got good on that.
And then so that we can really get the dates out ahead, I'd love to see if we can look at the date for the housing community outreach as well.
Okay, let me see if we can finalize that as well.
Because we had said the last week in July possibly for that. What I didn't, when we set that, when we talked about that, we weren't sure if other folks. So it would either be, we know it's a tough time, but we also want to make sure that people who are the seasonal housing people are here. So it's kind of like a crazy time, but we were looking at that last week in July. I don't know what the consultant ended up saying about that.
He said he had that week available, so
Oh, okay.
he should be able to make it. We haven't picked a specific date yet. So if you guys have a better date that week for the last week of July, now would be a great time to see if we can pin that date.
I'm good that week.
I will be out of town, but if there's access available, I can at least listen in.
Okay. We had the last one broadcast. The only thing is when we broke up into sort of discussion sessions there, you may not be able to hear
Right.
one of the discussion sessions because they were, okay.
I'm good any day except for Friday, the 24th.
We're probably not going to hold it Fridays, but
I know Denise is hard charging on this.
I mean, because it's the last week of the month, I don't usually have any other commission meetings that week, so that should be a relatively flexible week for me.
Are we looking at, the week of the 27th?
Of July, yes.
Of July. The inland wetlands is me. I just happen to have it on my.
I understand why. I understand why. The 28th,
Because we have a joint calendar.
28th would be bad for you, for wetlands purposes. Yeah, okay.
And, they may or may not be interested in housing, but they'll definitely be in this room, so
Yeah. And I have to attend that meeting, so.
you have to attend that meeting.
I
So
would be there with the 31st.
you would be.
The 31st.
Okay, are there any other days of the week that work for you there? Or not?
Any of those days work for me.
Yeah,
27, 29, 30.
Okay. Should we aim for 29th? Is that okay with everybody if I ask if Gomez is available the 29th?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
what day of the week is that?
so Wednesday the 29th.
Well, is that another 6:30 to 8:30?
Yeah, or we did.
We did 7 to 9 last time. I'm not sure if you want to go 7 to 9 again this time, or if you want to pick.
Let's do 6:30 to 8:30.
Yeah, because then we can, if he can confirm that, then we can get the flyer out and all that stuff. And
Okay.
I think it's just really good to have it because, people are now looking for it.
Yeah, well, and since the last one, Craig has been going around with flyers for the survey and putting them all over town as well. So hopefully we'll get an increase in the survey amount results.
Sounds good.
Have we been getting responses to the surveys?
We have somewhere over 200, but we're looking to get obviously more than that.
Yeah.
So Greg is sort of trying to beat the bushes and get people to respond to the survey. So,
Okay.
okay. It is going to be open through the end of this month. So if you know of anybody in town who hasn't taken it, you can certainly let them know the survey is still open.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, everybody in the audience, did you hear that?
Pass the third one.
Sound like it.
Listen,
Way to get your voices heard.
And that's all I have for that part of the agenda. Does anybody else
Okay.
have anything else?
Everybody good with that? Yep. Okay, let's move on. Okay, our public hearing for this evening, case 26-3. Madam Secretary.
see that it looks like we have just two new exhibits. One is, no, we might have three. I'm not sure about exhibit N because it doesn't say, but site plan marked number 3875 from clerk's office, and exhibit O, stormwater report 52926, and exhibit P, engineers report 6526, and exhibit Q, Jacobson reviewed pre-billing worksheet.
Do we have, is the fire chief's exhibit?
We need to add that in as well. The fire chief's email that came in. I don't.
Today, came in today at 1:34.
Their chief email.
Yeah.
That will be Exhibit R.
From Chief Mike McCarthy. And this is a continuation of the public hearing as well, so. Okay. Attorney Shansky et al.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Zoning Commission. I'm Attorney Marjorie Shansky, and I represent the applicant. And I'm here with Jim Cassidy, professional engineer from Hallisey, Pearson and Cassidy. We were here on May 11th, and we pretty much gave a full presentation of the project to the commission. Both Mr. Cassidy and I had provided letters that were responsive to Mr. Knapp's memorandum about regulatory compliance. We individually and collectively demonstrated, I think, that the criteria of section 11.25 and sections 13A and B of the regulations are satisfied in the application. Mr. Jacobson's letter arrived this morning. Mr. Cassidy has prepared and will be sharing with the commission a response to the various items that have been raised by Mr. Jacobson, all of which are attainable and information that is provided for you. I want to, and he also has a corrected memorandum, Commissioner Marsh, that you requested, and it is with him this evening. And I apologize for describing things in your very presence.
Thank you.
I want to say with respect to the fire marshal memo or chief, I beg your pardon.
Okay.
Email that we received today, I checked with my client, and BL Company apparently responded to the items that were of interest to him, and I'm told that they've been addressed, perhaps except for the painting of the bridge.
Okay, I mean, we'll take that up as part of the
Okay.
session here. But
Okay, but yeah, okay. And so with that, I think Mr. Cassidy.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Jim Cassidy, professional engineer and principal at the firm Hallisey, Pearson and Cassidy out of Cromwell. First thing is I did present, as Marjorie mentioned, my memo showing how we comply with the section 1125 of your zoning regulations, and doing it and going through the whole memo with you last month. We realized that what we had done is we had copied it from your current regulations, so there's some wrong section references in it. So I have an updated copy with all the corrected section numbers.
Exhibit S,
What's that?
it'll be Exhibit S.
Thank you. Does everybody want one? Yes, please. Anyone else? So I was not going to go through it. It's the same responses as we had last month. It's just the section numbers have been corrected. Refers to the regulation at the time that we submitted.
This isn't for the engineering report.
No,
No.
because this is just an update to the,
Just an update to what we presented last
Oh,
month.
this is.
Yeah, again, it was referencing newer section numbers, so because the application was submitted prior to the amendment to your regulation, we had to refer to the old section numbers. In addition to, last meeting, we were waiting for your engineering review comments. We did receive them this morning. Apologize, I didn't have a lot of time to revise plans, but I took an effort and I went through each one of the comments. And basically what I did is I took the review memo and I redlined the comments on it, or responses to each one of these comments. And what I'd like to do is go over that with the commission at this point. I don't find anything that's not attainable to or easily addressable that's in this memo.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's exhibit.
So hopefully I don't bore you, but I'll go through these.
Yeah, T.
I'll go through these one by one. His first comment is a modular block retaining wall varying in height up to 13 feet is being proposed along the edge of pavement east of building number 7. Given the close proximity to the edge of the pavement in the building, the guide rail shall be provided and consideration given to providing safety fence along the top of the wall. I simply responded that we will provide guide rail along the edge of the pavement, along the top of that retaining wall, in addition to Per building code, if you have a retaining wall over 3 feet in height, then we'll also be providing top protection, which will consist of a 4-foot high fence along the top of the wall. The area along the pavement edge on the south of proposed building number 3, extending from the southern end of building number 4 approximately to the center of the turnaround, is indicated within a rock cut. It varies up to 15 feet in height. I would recommend the consideration given to providing a safety fence on the top of the rock. Once again, we've indicated that we would provide a safety fence along the top of that rock cut because it's basically going to be a reverse retaining wall. Even though the proposed grades reflect the entire vertical is 6V to 1H, which is 6 feet vertical to 1 foot horizontal cut within the rock, limited availability for test bits shown suggests that there would be some earth overburden on top of the rock. As such, a detail should be provided as how the overburden would be graded, distance back from the top of the rock to the toe of the overburden, slope of the overburden, any cut off swales. It should also note that there will occur grading may extend back into the adjacent parcel identified as parcel 2. I think he really means parcel 5 is the adjoining parcel. While the parcel is presumably owned by the same legal entity, in the event that it is transferred to another party in the future, grading easement should be considered. What I noted is that during prior construction, we would be doing additional test bits based upon all the test bits that they have in that area. We were finding that ledge is pretty shallow at the top. That's why we're showing the vertical face. But if required, we would provide a detail for grading of the overburden. Overburden is the earth that sits on top of the ledge. And if required, we would obtain a grading easement on that additional property to ensure that it can be graded that way in the future. Number 4, the proposed rock cut will generally be north facing. Any water seepage through the rock face may ice over during freezing winter months. If in regards to this, consideration should be given to backfilling the shoulder behind the curb with crushed stone and grading at a slope towards the base of the rock cut with drainage, sub-drainage system, and mitigate the potential for ice migrating over the curb and into the roadway. So I responded to surface drainage at the toe of the slope rock cut. The surface drainage system at the toe of the rock cut, along with the backfill shoulder behind the curb and grading for the slope back to the base, will be provided. Number 5.
I didn't see that the will be provided. Is that off the page or something?
I apologize. I think it is and says, yep.
Got it here on this exhibit. Okay.
Number 5, many of the proposed site improvements would appear to require a combination of earth rock cut. It is in this regard, we would question if the surplus material would be disposed of and where and this would occur, and if any on-site crushing is proposed. We are proposing to use the surplus material on-site. All I said is because we're not sure whether if we're going to try to crush it, is if we do, we have to comply with the town requirements and file for a separate permit for crushing it if necessary. But we do need material for the site around the buildings. So we are proposing to reutilize it. Number 6.
So just quickly on that. So if you do have surplus material, you're looking at crushing it. Could you not crush it and just take it off site?
Is there anything in the regulations that would prohibit us from not crushing it? And this is the position I always take, is that when you take a look at crushing in comparison to having to remove material from site to bring material back on site, there's a lot less environment.
No, so you're looking that we're already going to be crushing to use the material on site.
That's the only way we crush it. If we need it for on site, we'd be crushing it to utilize it on site. I'm not looking at crush it to sell it off.
But what I'm looking at is, once you have surplus, are you going to crush it or just take it off, or is it?
Oh, if it's just surplus, we don't need it. It goes off site.
Yeah, that's because he's saying, I guess that, so, because you're saying if crushing is required, basically you're saying crushing will be required.
We know we have some rock.
Yeah.
We're gonna probably utilize the majority of it, depending on how it lasts. Our whole ram, however we take it out, would be used for fill in non-structural areas, not under buildings, not under pavement, not under drainage.
Mhm.
Any excess, if there is excess and we can crush it, we use it for bases and roadways.
Yeah, I guess I would, just want to make sure we're clarifying that it's like we're gonna be crushing the rock that is to be used on site. But if it's not used on site, it's just gonna be, we're not gonna start crushing everything.
Crushing operation.
Yeah.
But his question, his comment does indicate where the disposal would be. So.
Yeah, That's what I'm saying off
Oh,
site.
It doesn't say in your response where that disposal will be. If
I'll
it's-
we can add a sentence that says any excess material would be removed from site. Number 6, given the close proximity to the edge of the existing pavement located to the east and northeast of building number 2, which is on the phase 1 portion of the project, on the adjacent parcel 2, and the proposed depth of up to 8 feet for the adjacent stormwater basin, is recommended that a guide rail provided along the top edge of the pavement. We've noted the guide rail will be added along the existing edge of pavement in this area. So anywhere we have that grade that's like a 2 to 1 into that basin, we'd add the additional guide rail. Number 7, stormwater basin on unit number 2. Parcel is located on, stormwater basin for unit number 2 is located on unit number 1 parcel. Although presumably owned by the same legal entity, which it is, and the event is transferred to another party in the future, grading easement shall be considered. I noted a grading easement and also should, I think, be a drainage easement for the stormwater basin on unit number 1 will be provided.
Yeah, and I want to go a step further. I want to make sure that we can maintain that. So it's not just a drainage, but that you have an easement to have a stormwater structure there and that you can do maintenance of it, because that's going to be
why
critical.
I added
So, yeah, but drainage easement just means you have the right to drain on something, not necessarily. I would make sure it's about maintaining that stormwater.
And following up on the easements, if I go back to number 3 for a second, you said if required, you'd get the grading right. So would that requirement be based on the need to encroach on the property that's adjacent, even though it's owned by the same?
Yeah. So, I mean, it depends upon what you have for overburden as to what detail you're gonna have. I mean, if you only have a couple of feet of overburden, we're basically gonna be sloping, creating about a 4-foot wide shelf and then sloping back 2 feet.
So if you would have required an easement, had the adjacent parcel been owned by someone else, you'll apply for the easement, even though it hasn't changed hands.
Yeah, so that's what it says, the grading right. So, and that's.
I'm gonna add the
right
word
away.
and maintenance in there after
Yes.
drainage. Okay.
That's a good point. Continuing to item B, erosion sediment control, silt fence, hay bales must be provided at the toe of all proposed slopes. In regards, the location of the controls need to be revised on drawing 5 of 17. We had already revised these, but I'll go through them individually. Apparently what happened is last time we made the revision for the configuration of the units, the old location of the sediment barriers remained, so we updated them all according, so they are all at the toe of the slopes. But he indicated 3 spots you'd like to see them. Along the entire east side of the toe of the fill slope for proposed stormwater basin and grass swale. The plan has been updated to show the silt fence with hay bales along the entire east side of the fill slope for the stormwater quality basin and drainage swale. I apologize for the typo there, 4 spelled wrong. The second one is along the entire northwest side of the toe of the fill slope associated with proposed subsurface disposal systems for building number 3 and number 4. I've noted the plan has been updated to show silt fence with hay bales along the entire northwest side of the toe of the slope associated with proposed subsurface disposal system for building number 3 and number 4. Continuing on around the northwestern and eastern perimeter of rain garden number 2. Same thing, the silt fence and hay bale has been added along the northwest and eastern perimeter of rain garden number 2. And then finally, along the entire northern and eastern side of the toe of the proposed retaining wall, east of building number 2. And again, I said, a silt fence, and hay bale were added along the northern eastern side of the toe of the proposed retaining wall number 2. Continuing on for erosion sediment control, the erosion sediment control sequence, drawing 11 of 17 identifies stormwater basin, item number 19 to be constructed and installed, after the installation of storm drainage system, item number 9, which would result in the stormwater discharging into an area that will be disturbed, with ongoing construction of the swale, the basin, and the berm. The sequence will make construction and establishment of the permanent vegetation more problematic, and given the close proximity to wetlands, a greater susceptibility to sediment erosion issues. So what I noted is that the construction sequence will be provided to require the installation and stabilization of the stormwater quality basin to the construction of the drainage system.
Okay, so at that point, it will be acting as a temporary sedimentation basin. Then you'll clean it out and make it function as the stormwater quality basin.
Yeah.
So could we make sure we're very clear on that and that we have that in the sequencing, that the temporary sedimentation basin will be cleaned out so that we have, at the end of the day, a functioning stormwater system?
So what I was actually looking at doing is building the whole stormwater quality basin first and stabilizing it.
Mm-hmm.
Then if we need, the site disturbance area on this is pretty small. It's a little over an acre,
Okay.
believe it or not. So it's not much bigger than a residential house.
Mhm.
As we need in that area, have a separate temporary sediment basin. So I don't corrupt the final stormwater quality basin.
That's what my concern is. So one of the things that folks miss is that we need to have an erosion sediment control plan, which includes things like that. And a lot of times we get what we see, except for the silt fence and whatever, but what we see is the final stormwater plan. And we really need to have these it's one of the big challenges we have with the erosion and sediment control guide versus the stormwater. Everybody goes right to the stormwater manual, does all that stuff, and they forget that we need to do this during construction.
Yeah, so that's why we usually like to have a temporary sediment trap more in the site area, especially with this one where you're take all the.
So you're going to add that to the plan, that you're going to have a temporary sediment.
It's a plan already. I can depict the location, but the issue we always have is we tend to have to move it around during the construction process.
Okay.
Like initially when I'm doing the cuts, I'd probably have it in the area of the building.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, once we have the basin for the road and that rock cut done, and we could do our seating on that area and we start construction of the building, I would move it to smaller basin.
Okay, could you just make sure that you kind of, even though it's going to be moving and you might not have the exact location of it, say that a temporary said basins will be installed as needed, and,
We do have a note in the erosion sediment control.
Yeah.
Notes on the plans already.
Okay, that's on there.
Yep. So continuing on, given the location of the adjacent wetlands, we would recommend that the outside slope of the stormwater quality basin berm be protected with an erosion control blanket. So it's item number 3. I did note that we would add a erosion control blanket to the outside face of that stormwater quality basin. I would probably go as far again to actually add one to the interior to it, just so it can be stabilized quicker. Comment number 4, there are various elements in the construction sequence on a drawing, sheet 11 of 17, that are not applicable to this project. Unfortunately, we have a copy of have a copy paste, and sometimes things come over. And I know exactly what it is. Probably makes reference to a concrete loading dock, which was for a commercial project, which I will update and get rid of out of this project. So. A remnant from the day I used to do all the tractor supplies, so a remnant, no. So continuing on, the start and completion date and the construction this construction schedule should be updated. I put once all municipal and Department of Public Health approvals are obtained, we'll update the start date and completion date. As we mentioned, we still need to get a permit from the Department of Public Health for a well, so I don't want to commit as to how long all that's going to take. But at that point, we have a more realistic timeframe on the overall construction. And then number 6, catch basin inlet protection should be graphically shown on the plan sheet 5 of 7. as we've gone through the process, we moved a bunch of these catch basins, so we do have a standard legend that shows what we call inlet protection. So we actually have updated the erosion control plan to show that the catch basins will be protected throughout the construction process. C, water quality. While the typical stormwater basin section in drawing 12 of 17 specifies the proposed earthen berm have a minimum top width of 8 feet, which is recommended standard. It also scales to about 6 feet in width on the proposed stormwater quality basin plan view. In addition, the typical stormwater section shows the outside berm be at a 3-foot horizontal to 1 foot vertical, while there are locations where the apparently to avoid encroachment into the wetlands, the lower portion of the berm side slope is steeper. Steep berm's side slope has been adjusted to 2-foot horizontal to 1 foot vertical on the proposed stormwater quality basin. As I noted, I've had to go back and just tweak that berm. I took a look at it. I know where he's talking about, and if there's other areas I can just fine tune the berm. I'll make the top width at 8 feet, but there was one section where it was tight to wetlands, so it looks like they may have gone a little steeper, but there's other areas that I can make up for it, so it has the same volume overall. It'll function the same.
Okay, so you addressed the width of the berm. He's talking about a 3-to-1 slope and a 2-to-1 slope. Are they?
So there was a couple areas where it got very close to the wetlands. So it looks like someone in my office may have created a 2-to-1 for a small section. So it had to tweak berm over slightly. There's other areas where I can go the other way to compensate for the reduction of volume.
Okay, and are you making sure that it's not an area that needs to be mowed then, that it's stabilized so that, because you can't mow a 2-to-1 slope?
I'm going to change it so it's all 3-to-1.
Oh, okay, you could change all the slopes to 3-to-1.
Yeah, tweak that berm so on the final plan, so it's all 3-to-1.
Okay, could we add that, because that's not in your addition?
I'm writing it.
So next comment, since there is no inlet pipe that discharges directly into stormwater quality basin, the details should be modified to delete the inlet pipe and the low permeability fill at the outlet to avoid confusion. Again, fortunately, it's a standard detail for the basin cross section that we put on the plan, which shows an inlet pipe. This particular stormwater quality basin will be actually letting water through a drainage swale of where the inlet pipe. So we're just going to change the detail to show a drainage swale going into it instead.
Okay, so you don't have any inlet pipes coming in, just the swales though?
Just the swale. So the swale is about 300 feet in length. The pipe discharges to the swale. So that's going to be the stormwater quality. Continuing on, so sorry, I have long glasses on today, so I'm struggling to use some of this. Given the implication of failure, we would recommend that the design engineer be required to observe the construction of stormwater basin berm to ensure that the construction in substantial conformance with the design, and upon completion of construction, provide a letter to the zoning enforcement officer to this regard. I just, as I put a note that says it will add a note to the plans as stated above. The same thing went down below to ensure the stormwater quality basin is maintains the required stage storage discharge relationship that the hydraulic model is based upon. To attenuate the increase in peak flow rates, we would recommend that the post-construction as-built drawing be prepared and that the design engineer either verify the basin and the outlet structure will function as designed and make recommendations for modifications so that it does. And again, I just noted that we'll add that note to the plan as described above. Number 5. Based upon the stage storage discharge curve in the stormwater quality basin, the available storage volume provided within the bottom of the basin, elevation 25 to 3-inch diameter outlet orifice at elevation 26 is 2,000 cubic feet or 0.056 acre feet. As compared to the required water quality volume, WQV of 0.061 acre feet. When adding the available storage within the rain gardens, the total storage volume on the site is 0.056 acre feet which is still less than the required. In addition to the reduction provided for the peak flow rate for the 2-year frequency storm event is 28% in comparison to the 50% reduction performance criteria specified in the Connecticut Stormwater Quality Manual. What I noted, I've got real small text here, so it's going to be wonderful to try to read this. What I noted is our intentions were actually to raise the orifice elevation, that's a 3-inch orifice elevation by 6 inches to the elevation to be 26.5. This will provide available storage capacity within the basin itself of 0.082 acre feet, which is greater than the 0.061 acre feet required. The proposed 2-year storm rate into the basin is basically 0.143 acre feet, with therefore 50% reduction performance criteria would be 0.071 acre feet. So we'd also meet that reduction rate with this revision to the stormwater quality basin.
And the final design plans will be specific with those.
I already had updated.
Okay.
Yeah, it was updated in the report also. It's just,
Oh, okay.
it didn't get updated on the plan, unfortunately, but it will be. 6, we recommend that catch basin inlet number 2, which is the first catch basin located up gradient of the grass swale, that the outlet into the stormwater quality basin have a 4-foot sump with a snout provided at the outlet to provide primary treatment functions. So I just noted the catch basin number 2 will be updated to provide the 4-foot deep sump with an extra unit, with a snout at the outlet.
It's going to be a deep.
Next comment, the width of proposed drainage swale should be dimensioned in detail on the drawings for 17. The bottom width of the swale is 5 feet. The detail in sheet 417 will be updated accordingly. Number 8, the details should be provided for the proposed rain gardens, including the required soil mix, mulch, and planting. And I just noted that a detail for the rain garden, including the soil mixture, mulch, and planting, will be added to the sheet. And that's going to continue on to comment number 9. In his comment number 9, it says we'd question the yard drain outlet grate elevation of 41 in rain garden number 1, which would appear to be the same elevation at the ponded water elevation if the ponded water overflows into the adjacent paved turnaround. So what I said is the top elevation of the rain garden is noted on the plan is actually 41.5, so half foot higher. The top and grade in the yard drain is 41, providing a half a foot of freeboard in that rain garden. What I'm proposing to do is, because I had to do the detail for the rain garden for the prior comment, I'll do a blow up detail of both the rain gardens with more detailed grading at a half foot contour interval. If you were actually to look at the edge of the road, it's at presently at elevation 41, but you have this curve of the sidewalk. So the back of the walk is actually at 41.5. But I think this is not depicted well because it's on a 40 scale plan and you can't see the half foot contour interval. So I would provide an additional plan.
Yeah, that'd be good.
To give find more detail to those rain gardens. Comment number 10. If the rain garden number 2 were to outlet overflow their earth and berm, we would recommend that a turf reinforcement be provided for the full 35 feet in length. I just noted that the reinforcement mat will be provided for the full 35 foot in length. Comment number 11, the riprap spillway detail on 16 of 19 should specify the required dimensions and elevations. I just noted the dimensions and elevations will be added to the riprap spillway detail on sheet 16 of 17. And then 12, the construction stormwater pollution plan, note number 6 and 7 on drawing 10 and 17 are not applicable to this project. Again, I apologize, there's a copy paste, and it made reference to an underground system being maintained and also to a hydrodynamic separator being maintained, which don't apply to this particular plan, so they have been eliminated off the plans at this point. D, miscellaneous site layout plan drawing 2 of 7 should specify dimensions and widths of the access road. While the width scales 24 feet, the road section on drawing 14 to 17 shows 22 feet in width. This should be reconciled. So what we did, just so we had the right roads, but details, we actually copied the road detail from the prior approval. And it showed a 22-foot width, but for your new requirements, your new regulations, it actually needs to be 24. So I will update that final detail. So it shows the 24 because the plans all scale 24. It's going to be a 24-foot wide road, but we will update the detail accordingly to meet your current requirements. Your D2, the road section refers to a typical road section on drawing 14 of 17 are inconsistent with the road and stations on the site plan on drawing 2 of 17. What I noted is, again, we took that detail from the prior project. And then what the detail says is that from station 0 to station 700, I believe it was, that the roadway is supposed to pitch in one direction. That's the first section of road that's already installed. The existing road out there actually ends at station 13 plus 00. So there's a second detail which shows a crown in the road, and then what it says is from station 7 plus 00 to the remainder of the road. So our new piece of road goes from 1300 to 1850. It's all going to be crowned. That whole portion of the road will be crowned. So I just noted that detail. So there's reference, the stationing is referenced correctly.
So it's gonna be crowns that'll drain off both ways?
Yes. Yeah. So it's, the detail is correct, other than the width would be updated to 24 feet. Comment D3, where the pavement occurs in a rock cut, we recommend that an additional 1 foot of gravel base material provided along with some drainage. I noted we will update the plans and add the additional foot of granular base material along with a sub drainage system in the area of the rock cut. And that's a good idea. I mean, basically, it's give you 2 feet of a free draining material underneath the roadway, and we'll put a pipe and tie it into the current drain, basically, or French drain, and tie it into the nearest catch basin, just so you don't have water sitting on top of the rock. So we'll update it accordingly. And then finally, this comment number D4, while there is a future right of way to the northwest of the proposed developable area, it should be noted that the filling of the subsurface disposal systems for building number 3 and 4 will extend into this area and will potentially, while there is a future road right of way to the northwest of the proposed developable area, it should be noted that filling of the subsurface disposal system for buildings number 3 and 4 extends into this area, as well as a portion of the leaching for building number 4. I noted that the owner for unit number 5 already has a right over that area to access the property. But as we brought up last, when we looked at the regulations or the condo documents, they do have a right to put utilities within that area. With the encroachment of the septic system within that area, there's still more than ample room to put a road in, or the elevation of the road can be built up higher so it matches the elevation of the fill that's going in. So we're not precluding access to it. We're just utilizing a portion of it for the creation of a portion of our septic system, our subsurface sewage disposal system.
So obviously you want to make sure we have that right of access, but we don't want any road building over a leaching field.
Technically can. You could do it technically.
Well, you technically could, but then you have to make sure you don't have the compaction and impact to it. And you also might need to do maintenance of it. So could we make sure that you have not just a right of access, but access for maintenance?
Yes, we do. I mean, that was already in the.
Okay, as long as that's there. And I guess I would just be, somewhat concerned in terms of making sure that, folks know where that leaching field is. Like I said, you can put road over it, but then you need to build the road differently so that you don't have compaction.
Right. Well, we have them on the parking lot all the time, but it's over a 50-foot right of way. We need a 24-foot wide roadway. In about 10 feet. So.
Well, I guess I'm more concerned about making sure that people know where it is. So as long as that exact location is documented in as-built so that they know where it is. That's my.
Yeah, definitely has built, and we can do other things like put, markers, on the corners of it or, in the corners of the fill package. So, that everyone knows to stay away from it. So with that, I mean, that's all the review comments we had. I'm sorry for stumbling on a little bit, but it's been a scramble of a day.
It was a lot. When I got this report, I went like, oh.
Say something about Dr. Miller's one.
Yeah, so, we went over your minutes from the last meeting and there was a couple things that were, you had brought up, that I just wanted to go over and make sure that we're okay with. So at the last meeting, we talked about having a landscape plan, to refurbish some of the buffer areas that we need to remove trees in. And the way I left the meeting, my understanding is that was something we're going to work on with staff, once we had approval. So we're still committed to doing that. In addition to, you wanted to correct the memo, which I did give you this evening. You also said that the water supply, would be demonstrated prior to clearing. As I mentioned, when we go for the well, we're going to partner public health. It's a 3-step process. First step is to identify a location. The next step is to actually do drilling and testing. So we're committing to is that we would do those steps, make sure that we have an adequate location for a well before we do any additional clearing, just so we don't have a cleared site and a well that can't work. So, we're in agreement to that also. You had a comment about the fire marshal's conditions, requirements are met. As I stated last time, some of the conditions he has was on the fire tank. I've already had talked to him about the fire tank, and we committed to changing pipe locations that he wanted. We are proposing a fire tank up in the area of the site. I have right now a siphon pipe on one end of it, it's 3-compartment tank. So I have the siphon pipe to one end. He asked me to move to the center, along with making a pull-off area for him, so he can pull up to the fire tank without any issue. So we're committed to taking care of that for him also. You also asked that the town design and construction standards for the roadway be met. We went through them. I think I have updated the plans accordingly. But if not,
Is that to increase to 35 feet? Was that?
The specification, we had a question on the base material, I believe last time. Again, for your prior approval, it required 3 inches of pavement, and I think for your written requirement requires 4 inches. So we just wanted to verify that, we're using the correct requirement for the road construction. Then you had another comment about soil testing to be completed. As part of our final design of the soil septic system. I mean, we've done a lot of test bits out here, but there's none, they're all around the septic systems. And I'm very comfortable with what we found is pretty consistent out there. But when we go to actually construct, we're going to have to do additional soil testing in the area of the septic system to see if we need to make any final adjustments to it. And then finally, I would say probably one of the most important is you did have a resident here last time, Dr. Miller. He brought up a couple concerns. Number one was that he wanted to make sure that the well that he has, I believe, actually encroaches onto the piece of property. We're not proposing to use it, to tie into it. We're not proposing to create our own water source. But I would say more importantly, he had a concern about lighting out there. As I stated with this project, we are a good 800 feet off his property line. We provided a photometrics plan that indicated that we have no spill onto adjoining properties. And then we'd also be shielding the lighting fixtures. But more importantly, he asked me to go out there and take a look at the existing lighting fixtures, which after this meeting I did. And I called my client and basically said, these are atrocious. So we need to do something with them because I don't know what happened, but somehow they got replaced. And I can understand his concern. You can read a book by him right now. So we're committed to modifying those lights, whether it's putting a shield on or whether having them replaced. I talked to my client before this meeting just to make sure that he understands that we need to do something with those, but we are committed to replacing. They're the first 3 lights as you drive in the driveway that are directly adjacent to his property. Something needs to happen with them. I think Eversource came in and replaced them. And
So is it fair to say they'd be dark sky type?
yeah, they would have the dark sky compliant full cutoff fixtures, shielded, so it doesn't spray light onto the adjoining property. So those were the items you had brought up last time. I just want to make sure that I brought them up and that we are committed to taking care of all of them.
And you've seen Chief McCarthy's letter.
We did, and, you know, again, we brought it up with the owner of the development. He has made the repairs to the bridge. Unfortunately, another company, BL Companies, did the design of the bridge. So I will get documentation from them on what repairs were made, and also provide they wanted a letter confirming that the bridge was designed, so it would support a piece of fire apparatus.
So he is also asking that the be verified and certified by a professional
Yeah,
engineer.
so, you know, I can't do that because I didn't design it. So
Right.
we're gonna go back to the original engineer that did the initial design plus when they replaced the decking on the bridge, and I can certify that portion of it.
Oh, with all his concerns that he's got.
Yeah, I've already sent it off to the developer, so he's well aware of it.
And to that point, I would add that our client sent me an email this afternoon after we received the note from the fire chief. And it included an email to him from John Mallory, PE from BL Companies, Senior Structural Engineer, writing to him on August 20th, 2025. We are all set. The repairs look good. You can proceed with the scrape and paint. So we'll get you the details on the certification from that, but and I'm happy to forward this to you so that it's sort of in the record. But we do have information from a structural engineer that the repairs were indeed
But
made.
again, and I appreciate that. The fire chief is asking whether it can structurally support the fire apparatus.
Understood.
Right, okay.
And we're happy to
Okay.
accommodate.
Good.
Sure.
Thank you.
So I'm set.
Thank you. The only other thing that I would remind the commission is that we spent time at the May 11th hearing talking about the maps of record that show when the first phase was being approved, that showed the second phase. And so I provided those maps to you and the description, property description from the condominium declaration. I thank you for reopening the hearing so that we could talk about Mr. Jacobson's letter and give you assurances that everything is achievable and part of it has already been completed to that end. So we hope you will look favorably on these additional units to complement those that have already been provided. Do you have any questions?
Commission.
I would say, I'm very pleased that Nathan Jacobson was able to do this because this was a lot. But I'm also pleased that, given that you just got this today, you were able to do a lot today. I have not seen the fire marshal's or the fire chief's letter yet, but it brings back what we talked about at the very first meeting, that bridge deck is real concern of mine. And I'm very pleased that it came up again. We're going to get some assurance, and that was a real safety issue. So I'm glad it came up today. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So I'm assuming the commission has no more questions for the applicant or Attorney Shansky? If not, then I will move to open this public hearing to anyone who would like to make a public comment regarding this application. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make a comment? If so, please come forward, state your name and address, and provide us with your public comment. Okay. Thank you very much. And if the commission doesn't have any more questions,
Make another motion to close the public hearing.
okay, we have a motion to close the public hearing from our Madam Secretary. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denise. Is there any additional discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, the public hearing is closed, 5-0-0. Moving on. Is the commission in a position to discuss and possibly make a decision on this application tonight? We are.
There's an awful lot of conditions that
There's a,
we have
yes.
to figure out how to say them, but.
Yeah, I've got 8 listed here. You can feel free to add additional.
Yeah, why don't you read the ones from because we have last times and then we see what we need to add in.
I don't have, this is just from tonight, but I can.
I have
Do we-
them from last time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to motion to approve and then go with conditions and then get a second?
It's probably the appropriate thing to do at this point, is just have a motion on the table and then discuss
Okay,
this.
so I'll make the motion that we approve this application, subject to certain conditions, that we will then figure out what they are.
Okay,
Second.
second. Okay, additional discussion now on the conditions.
Sorry, that was Mary Jo.
Mary Jo,
Okay,
second,
thanks.
yes.
So can
Okay,
you get the
so,
ones? Yeah.
yeah, Eric, you want me to start?
Why don't you start and I'll sort of see if it cross checks with anything I have on my list.
Okay, so I have here, the commission noted that the following must be met or provided: landscaping plan, a corrected memo, water supply will be demonstrated prior to site clearing, fire marshal requirements must be met, town design and construction standards for the road systems must be met, soil testing must be completed, light shielding and vegetation requirements on phase 1 of the property and 2 must be met. That's all I have.
Okay, that was 5 of the 8 that I had previously written down here, so. In addition, I have that we're gonna get documentation from VL companies that confirms that the work was done on the bridge and that the work is sufficient to address the fire chief's concerns regarding fire equipment. I have the Jacobson letter, which I know Jane has also sort of written some additions to, but all concerns raised in the Jacobson letter will be addressed for the applicant's representation tonight. And finally, we do have Jacobson's estimated costs, which is Exhibit Q. Let me see if I can pull that one out. Second.
It's not too far down.
Anyway, it's been provided to the applicant. Okay. Jacobson estimates his costs of doing this review at $1,982.84. That cost is to be borne by the applicant. And those are the additional preconditions that I have above and beyond what Amy mentioned a few minutes ago.
Can we add something very specific about the dark sky fixtures near Dr. Miller's property? I know it's sort of generally covered, but I'd really like to have it.
Okay, well, if you want to sort of,
I agree, Jane.
Yeah.
The remediation specifically.
yeah, Amy mentioned it generally, but if you want to add more detail in on that condition of approval, then by all means.
Those 3 lights that he
Yeah.
was talking about? Okay,
I'd just like to
Sky
stay there in the
shielded lighting.
proximity of Dr. Miller's property. 'Cause I
Okay.
don't know where-
What can we condition?
Not just the stuff, remediating.
Yeah, they still control the road, so, and my understanding is that they've agreed to that condition, so we're not imposing it over their objection.
Do you need a new revised set of plans then based on this?
Well, we're gonna be getting revised plans anyway, right? Because we've already heard from the engineer that he needs to do a number of things to address Jacobson's concerns. We will be getting revised plans that do that. As part of all that, any additional conditions of approval from tonight are gonna need to be incorporated into those revised plans.
And what was it, Eric, that he said that he would be then working with you on consulting?
The consulting matter was the landscaping plan, right? That the landscaping plan has not been completed, but final terms of the updated landscaping plan, including a refreshing of material on the first phase, will be done with staff post approval.
Okay.
yeah. 1 second. So you had said, I just put dark sky compliant lighting will be added in proximity of abutting neighbors. Is that okay? Or do you want
Well, Dr.
specifically?
Miller,
specific
he's
to
the
the
only
doctor.
one.
Place,
Okay.
not added, I think.
Dr.
Yeah,
Miller's
remediated.
property And I'm sorry, what was the last one?
Did you want to?
Well, I mean, the landscaping plan you already have in there, you mentioned as a condition of approval previously from the last thing, that, again, the applicant is committed to updating the landscaping plan on both phases, with town staff, as a condition of approval.
And Michael and Mary Jo, did you want to hear again that one about the, yeah, let's read the one again about the light remediation. Might be an adjustment to that. By Dr. Something's property.
Let's see, dark sky compliant lighting will be added in the proximity of Dr. Miller's property.
You want to enhance that?
Yeah, I think in addition, there was some updated lighting that needs to be replaced, not just added.
Yes, it's replaced.
Will be,
Yeah, not
Right.
added, it should say remediated.
okay, so dark sky compliant lighting will be replaced.
Will replace existing lighting.
We'll replace existing.
Existing lighting.
And this, just if I have a question, just for my edification, on the items that have changed since the previous project. The items that changed, the regulations that changed, was that the subdivision guidelines that changed?
Yeah, well,
Because it wasn't,
it was the subdivision guidelines still refer to the town road standards, but the town road standards themselves have been updated since this original approval went in. So they need to meet the current town road standards as part of this application.
And then I think, what we have in there on the Jacobson letter, I don't know if we're that far yet. Are we to Jacobson yet?
Well, it's in the conditions, but if we want to add in certain things, I know Jane has a bunch of notes over here that she's added. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah. I just want to make sure, I mean,
All the items in response to Jacobson. He's given us a letter.
he's given us a letter with response and there's
With
just
all
a
of
few,
the things he
there's just
said.
a few things that need to be added to that.
Well, I added him. Every time he said he agreed with something. I put-
Jane is physically
Okay, so-
gone in.
yeah,
and
so
made it
I'm
to the-
saying that,
It's in there
so you have those.
Yeah. You approve that, right?
Yes. So the letter as handwritten amendments by Jane pursuant to the comments made.
Yeah, as long as we have that, that's fine.
Good to go here, we think?
Let's hear them one more time, okay? A condition to approve. Sorry, Amy. Per the,
Not paid enough. people.
per the following conditions.
All right, so we've got the, let's see here, a landscaping plan. So these are the conditions. Landscaping plan must be provided, met or provided a corrected memo, provided water supply will be demonstrated prior to site clearing. The fire marshal requirements must be met. Town design and construction standards for the road systems must be met. Soil testing must be completed and light shielding and vegetation requirements on phase 1 of the property and on phase 2 must be met. It also said that we need documentation, make sure that's, yeah, okay, documentation from BL company that confirms work has been done on the bridge and is sufficient to address the fire chief's concerns. The Jacobson letter, the concerns in Jacobson letter addressed as added by Ms. Marsh during the meeting. Is that good? Okay. And then Jacobson's estimated costs to be borne by or just Jacobson's cost to be borne by the applicant. You actually want the amount in there?
Yes.
Why don't you put the amount in there?
Yes.
Okay.
1,900 something, right?
1982.84.
Okay, so the Jacobson's estimated cost of $1,982.84 to be borne by the applicant.
Okay,
Oh, sorry,
Nope.
not done, not done.
just kidding.
Yeah, dark sky compliant lighting will replace existing lighting, and I just said particularly in the proximity of Dr. Miller's property, but if you'd like me to
No, that's fine.
wordsmith that.
That's fine.
Okay, and then landscaping plan will be updated with town staff for both, for phase 1 and phase 2,
Yes.
you said? Okay.
Okay,
Nice change.
That's all I had.
any additional discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the application?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, the application is approved 5-0-0.
Yes.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda, just make sure, yep, is the receipt and setting of public hearings for new cases. We don't have any, but we have a discussion
Well,
from
you
these.
have,
We have one to.
you have one that was
possibly
received, you have to receive it, because it came in
Right.
more than a day. Setting the public hearing was something we can discuss this evening.
Right.
The sewer project has come in with a petition to amend their prior special permit to include as laydown yards 250 and 224 Shore Road. I will let them sort of discuss with you what they have. I will indicate that as submitted, and we can certainly go through what they've given us, the application is incomplete at the present time. How much more we need and what is going to happen with that and when we're going to set the public hearing is something that we need to sort of go through and discuss this evening. Jane, I know there is a file in there which has what we have so far on this proposal. And I know there's a bunch of people in the audience who'd like to come and talk about the proposal. That's whenever you're.
So just point of order. So until the application is complete, we will not set a public hearing. Is that
That's
correct?
well, up to you.
That's the usual rule.
Again, they are going to talk to you this evening about the sort of urgency of this and why they want a public hearing scheduled now. But again, we have 3 copies. And I'll sort of pass them around. And I will let the applicants speak on this and we can discuss what we would like to do on this.
I'll start. My name is Doug Whalen, 41 Old Colony Road. I'm one of the signatures for the sewer program. Attorney Sharkey apologizes for not being here tonight. He would be here tonight, but he had a conflict with scheduling, so he's not here. We also have 2 other signatures of the sewer program, Frank Noe and Scott Belanger, here in the audience. So if you have any questions for us, we're here for you. What we're attempting to do is comply with all your concerns. Stipulations and the special permit conditions for the sewer project that the 3 beaches in the town of Old Lyme are responsible for under a cost sharing agreement. Today, I am representing all 4 entities to briefly go over our intentions. We take this project very seriously, and we want to comply with all of your zoning concerns. There was some discussion that this project has been going on for many years, and a delay would have no impact on the project. This is not true. It's critical to move this project forward immediately due to the conditions listed below. One of them is the notice to proceed with the contractors was issued August 30th, 2026. April 30th, 2026, after the review process was reviewed and approved by the state Connecticut DEP. So we had no control until state DEP gave us the authorization to move forward. The contractors were put on a time limit effective that date, so future delays will cause issues with the contractor's scheduling. The state of Connecticut DOT paving 156 was put on hold so we can get our sewer line in the ground on 156 before the paving program, which is scheduled this year. This courtesy by the state of Connecticut has a savings for the project of over $1 million, which will be beneficial not only to the beach associations, but the town of Old Lyme, because we're all responsible for this cost under the cost sharing agreement.
Are you saying that the town of Old Lyme has signed a cost sharing agreement?
The town of Old Lyme has signed the cost sharing agreement. We have a copy of a signed cost sharing agreement with the 3 beaches in the town of Old Lyme.
And when was that?
It was September 2022. For the record, I'm Steve Humes. I'm a resident of Old Colony Beach and a member of the Board of Governors of Old Colony Beach and the WPCA of Old Colony Beach. But the town signed the cost sharing agreement. Yep.
So the laydown and staging areas cannot be identified by the beach associations when we originally put all of our applications in. And the town, and we were going through the design and bidding process, as it was clearly marked out in the project, that the contractors have to secure the laydown staging areas once they are awarded the contract. Because the beaches in the town did not have a contractor in place until DEP approved the notice to proceed, those areas could not be identified. So that was a big issue. And I know it sounds like we just ignored it. We never ignored it. It's just we couldn't tell you an area because the contractors had to decide that. Once the contractors were approved to move forward, they tried to provide a laydown stage area that had as little truck traffic as possible going through the town of Old Lyme. So they looked at an area close to our project and not have to go through Old Lyme roadways for this project. Due to limited space south of 156, there was no suitable area that the contractor could use. An area close to the project and suitable for the contractors was identified north of 156 that would benefit the project and provide limited truck traffic in the town during the project. The other part was restrictions in the 100-foot uplands review area, which is condition 5 of the wetlands permit number 2009, are operationally impractical and will create traffic and safety logistical concerns. But with the contractors are prepared, and we've already had at our last meeting, they provided you with a really impressive site plan for the laydown and areas with fencing and all different types of protections. So we are ready with the contractors to provide you with all of the programs that we feel that are going to address all of your concerns. But the problems that we have is that under some of the some of the restrictions, like no fueling in the wetlands, drainage structures, or catch basins, that won't occur. And the contractors already said they won't do that. But there's some parts where if vehicles are parked in an area, for example, dewatering, they can't shut down the dewatering operation, move the vehicle to an area, and then fuel it and then bring it back. So but they have provisions in place to protect it. So we have all those ready for you. We're ready to present it to you. Eric had told us that we have to do it in a public hearing. So that's why we're here today, to find out if there's anything else you need. But we have everything in place to take care of the laydown areas, to take care of condition 5 of the inland wetlands, which is the 100-foot uplands review area restrictions. We have provisions in place to address all those. But one of the things, we're at a critical stage of the project to get approvals so the contractors can prepare a safe and town-friendly project as they try to meet this requirement of the contracts, and also to meet the DEP's consent order the beaches are under. We are asking the zoning commission to hold a special hearing in June so we can properly address your concerns.
What are we missing, Eric?
Okay, let me go through a number of things that I haven't seen. And first of all, condition 5 of wetlands is outside of your jurisdiction. If they need to modify condition 5 of wetlands, they're gonna have to go to wetlands. Okay. So that's sort of, that's a new one to me. I will talk to them about going to wetlands, but that's outside of here. Their abutters list does not have N-Track as listed abutter. They don't have a remediation plan in the plans they've given you. The plan that they've given you, the plans they've given you are not actual A2 surveys, they're just sort of drawings on your GIS map. I didn't see an erosion control and sedimentation plan. As far as I'm aware, and maybe I'm missing something in the application, the other conditions of approval from the original permit that they need to modify have not been called out specifically to amend. We heard this evening some of those, what those conditions are. I don't know what all of them are. If I'm going to get my legal notice in the newspaper, I have to know every single condition that they are looking to modify from the original approval, because we're not doing this twice. So to my knowledge, all we have is a modification to the original permit to add in 224 and 250 Shore Road. We don't have the other conditions of approval they need modified. And again, we don't have what I would consider to be a plan that conforms to the requirements, the regulations for the special permit. So that's what I'm looking for. Additionally, to sort of address a concern that was just raised, we still need to give a 35-day review period for this to be sent out. So the first available date I can give you a public hearing is your regular meeting in June, which happens to be exactly 35 days from today.
July.
July. So yeah, your first July meeting is literally 35 days from today. So to allow proper referrals to go out and allow comments to come back, I need that full 35 days, which again puts us at the July meeting. Again, in the absence of these things, I'm not sure anything sooner than that would be justified in any case.
So we have the 2 laydown areas addressed already. That's our application.
Mhm.
And you're asking for an erosion control sedimentary plan?
And sedimentation plan, yeah. And a remediation plan. And again, these things were gone over with Brendan Sharkey last week when I talked to him. I don't know. Again, I don't know. I mean, he physically was bringing me the application when we were talking about these things. So obviously it wasn't included in the application he gave me. But if I'm going to have a complete plan, I'm going to need these additional items. And again, the other crucial one, if I'm going to get a legal notice in the newspaper, is any other conditions of approval that need to be modified. And you've mentioned one tonight, which is the refueling. There was also an issue regarding whether heavy equipment could remain on site overnight. I understand from the pre-construction meeting that the crane will not be leaving the site overnight. So if you need to modify that condition of approval, I need that included now. If there are others that I'm just not even aware of, I just need to make sure that we have a complete list of every modification so that you're putting a legal notice in that doesn't adequately address all of these issues. If we leave something out of a legal notice, it can't be modified. And again, we only want to do this once because obviously you guys are on a tight schedule here.
What about the River Cog?
This is not
Not
a river cog.
Okay.
I mean, this is not a river cog issue. The issue,
Wetlands.
I'm gonna have to deal with them separately on going to wetlands. That's a separate issue. I'm gonna have to send them back to wetlands if we need to go to wetlands. The
We
one
can't
that
act until wetland act.
you
Right.
cannot act until wetlands acts. The other piece of this that I was talking to Attorney Sharkey about, we both were of the opinion that this did not require a CAM application, given what we're looking at. But I will be referring that over to Attorney Willis just to get a confirmation from him that's the case. Okay. An application, a CAM application was not submitted with the materials that we have already. Again, he and I seem to be of the conclusion not true, but I'm no longer at council. So I will refer this to council to confirm with Attorney Willis that he believes this can proceed without a CAM application.
And we had an approved lot in the industrial complex area that was approved for these specific type of things, if I'm not mistaken, right? For
Yes.
approved projects. You guys explored that as well?
That just means trucking through the town is going to increase emissions, congestion, and cost.
I don't know. I'm just saying right now you might be able to start there while you work through this. Just thought, because that's already approved.
There's already an approved location.
Was in the industrial.
In the industrial
Sure.
park, there was an applicant that came in here a couple months back that was seeking approval for basically a lay down or contract for storage.
Matt,
Yeah, Matt.
so what, you know, the name can be?
Septic Works. I don't know if that's the LLC it was under, but it was explicitly for an approved construction project lay down there, pretty much.
What, do you know what project that was?
No, it's a,
I can email you the address
Okay.
tomorrow morning. Okay.
but what I'm getting at is you might want to look there while you work through these. At least you can get your stuff started because that's already an approved location.
It's a business that offers that as a service.
Gotcha.
We understand that. Yep. Thank you.
I was just thought.
And you'd have
Thanks
to,
for bringing that up.
and it would be, I would highly recommend that your folks who are doing the construction who are seeking areas, that they work that out and make sure that it's
I understand
applicable.
that. That's understandable. Yep.
It's just,
And we did talk to them this morning, all of the three contractors, and we told them we'll get back to them after this meeting tonight.
Yeah.
But it was our understanding that the erosion control cemetery plan was provided
It was
as
part of the original.
part of the original plan.
Okay, as part of the original permit had an erosion control plan, but there's no separate plan for the storage yard 24 through 50. At least not as I understand an erosion control plan. So, yeah, I mean, if you look at the materials that are sort of in the material that everybody here has, you know, the narrative for an erosion control plan, the details for an erosion control plan, none of that is in there. So again, they're relatively flat areas. I'm not suggesting you're going to need extensive erosion controls, but given that you're right on 156 and given you're going to have very heavy trucks tracking through mud, I want any tracking pads. I want hay bales or something along the perimeter. I want something that makes sure that we're not going to get mud all over 156 as part of all of this. Because we were getting some of that during the water company use of 224, or actually 250, I guess it was, which was illegal and they were cited for. I don't want to have to go through that again with the new project. So some detailed erosion control from an engineer is going to be required to make this go forward. And again, whether we need that before I schedule a public hearing or they schedule a public hearing, I'll let the commission decide. But an actual erosion control plan is going to be really important here.
So just like this is a supplement to the plan.
Right.
The erosion sediment control has to be just for that section, not the
Just
rest of it.
The other section is already.
The other section.
That's what I was, when he says you don't have an erosion control plan, I thought there was one submitted originally. That's for everything south of 156.
Yes, but again, north of 156.
North of 156 was not in the original proposal, so now you need an erosion control plan for that.
And particularly that anti-tracking
particular area.
pad.
Oh, yeah, and that was in the original, when May 12th, when you get the plan, that was in that.
There were a
plan.
couple of things that we talked about then. We talked about that. We talked about having, so if they're leaving equipment on site and making sure that they have a spill plan.
Yeah.
So just all of that.
He had all that.
That should all be.
And also we had fencing around the whole perimeter of the staging area. So that was.
Yeah, so just make sure that we had talked about some of that. So just make sure it's there. And it's, I think to Eric's point, it should be, it can't just be sketched on. It has to be, you know, an engineering.
I thought he addressed that in, under the 14.9, which is lay down areas outside of the work area.
I understand that 14.9 allows you to put lay down areas in zones that they otherwise would not be allowed in. But as a modification to a special permit, you still need to meet the special permit criteria for what needs to be shown on a plan. Okay. And again, I will leave it to your engineer to make this as detailed or as lightly detailed as you guys want. I would just say that I don't want you to be in a situation where I give this to Jacobson. And again, as you saw tonight, Jacobson comes back with a list of 5 pages of things that haven't been done right. And then you're looking at another month where you have to go back and amend your plan. I'm trying to get this all done in one shot. So make your plan as detailed as you can make it so that it all goes through in one shot and Jacobson doesn't have 5 pages of comments on it, all of which need to be addressed. Because again, the last thing you're going to want to do before your public hearing is the night of the public hearing, have somebody frantically trying to make changes to the plan. So the better the plan up front, the faster you can get it to me, the faster I can get it to my engineer, the more likely it is we're going to be able to get this resolved prior to the public hearing. Good.
just a thought on the 224 versus the 250. 224 is the one you'd have to be concerned about the wetlands, right? Because of that title. Title Creek, right? So I don't know if there's a way to dictate 224 does this part of activities for the laydown yard, and then 250 does these activities for your laydown yard. I don't know if that consideration's been made, but you might want to consider that because there might be an avenue where 224s are less used as far as equipment, more maybe it's more equipment stored and then or material stored.
They may not need as much equipment in 224 as they do in 250.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, got it. So is there anything else Eric, that we need to address other than that? So
Well,
it's really an erosion control for the 2 laydown areas and then the laydown area review.
Yeah, I would go back and look at your abutters list because again, I didn't see Amtrak on there. I don't know if there's anything else that's missing. But I don't want you to have some sort of defective notice because you haven't notified everybody within 100 feet. And again, I know there was concern before about how you were going to remediate this site when you were done. And I haven't seen anything that really details a remediation plan once this is complete. So I would definitely look at that issue as well.
I thought that was addressed by the application, no?
I mean,
We said, didn't we say we're going to have it, as good as or better than it is?
you said that, but I think the commission probably wants to see what that's going to look like.
Okay.
So, they're sort of, an engineer should be able to come up with a remediation plan without a lot of effort on this, but we want, just telling us it's going to be better is probably not going to get you what you need from the commission. So again, some sort of detail on a remediation plan would be helpful, okay?
For instance, seeding the area, topsoil, whatever,
Yep.
whatever process they're gonna do, remediate, instead of just saying.
And you'll get us that information about the industrial park?
Yes, I will get that to you, again, tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock when I get in, okay?
Thank you, Eric. Anything else the commission wanted to have us address?
So I guess the question is,
So July 13th, we were hoping to have this as.
yeah, so if we set this, it really depends, so that, because we need to, if we set a public hearing, the materials need to be available.
Yes, and again, they also have to give me a complete list of every condition of approval they need modified, right? So I have to get my legal notice in advance of that. If it does not happen, then I will put them on notice that they're at risk of me not putting my legal notice out there, and they're gonna lose that July 13th date.
Yeah.
So.
So
Our
I-
next regular meeting is until
September. We understand that.
Unless
We
you have a
understand.
special meeting.
We understand
And
that.
by statute at 87D, you need to open the public hearing within 65 days of receipt, absent consent from the applicant to extend it beyond that. So you would probably need to hold a special meeting in August to address opening the public hearing at that time. Okay? Get it.
At least you have an avenue through the industrial park at this time until you can get. Case scenario, having it right here, but at least you have another option 3 miles away.
So Eric, just process wise, are you comfortable with us setting the public hearing? With their understanding that they have to get this material in as soon as possible, because otherwise we'll have to pull it off the agenda.
I guess what I would say is, it's not gonna be from my comfort level. I want the commission to understand what we're looking at. I will make it happen on my end. But again, the commission has to understand that, we were waiting for things from the applicant and this is at the moment an incomplete application.
And just to make sure I understand what you're saying about the other location that's already approved, this industrial park area. We do not have to come back to you for any type of approvals. We can have them start tomorrow.
They've already given us a special permit application that shows certain areas of that site used for certain purposes. As long as you conform to the existing special permit for that site, you're free to use that site, okay?
And it was explicitly for permanent project.
Got it. Great. Thank you very much.
So
Thank you.
yeah, so, I guess what you're asking, so our decision has to be, are we going to set the public hearing for July 13th or not?
Yes, that's that. The next motion from the commission has to be, we set a public hearing for whatever the date is. Or if you don't feel you're ready to set a public hearing, you have 65 days to open a public hearing. So you can wait until you can wait till your July meeting to set a public hearing, but then you definitely need to hold a special meeting in August. So
What, if I may, what is the deadline by which you need the material to publish the legal notice? So in other words, is there a date between now and the 13th of July? Where if you don't have what you need, you're going to tell us that we can't go forward on the 13th?
I will tell you, to get my legal notice in, sooner is better, but let me just sort of look at my calendar here and give you some thoughts.
So if we receive the application.
You have to receive it. That one. Yeah.
Okay, and then if we hold off on setting a public hearing based on how fast they get their data in, when is the last date that we could have? So all we need is a quorum to set up a public hearing. So what's the last date that we would need?
Well, I guess
June, that we could hold that meeting and yet get it in for July.
I was
What
going to ask,
what I would suggest, I mean, honestly, if you're gonna do that, why don't you just set it for July
Okay.
13th? And if we're not gonna be able to hold it then, I will put you on notice that it's not gonna go forward.
Okay.
I mean, we get this with ZBA all the time, where we get to the meeting, they're just not ready to go forward, and we just don't
What
open.
about the wetlands? What, will that come in or?
I'm gonna have to get them in front of wetlands this month, and, we'll have to see how that goes. I honestly have not looked at the wetlands permit, and I don't know what that's gonna involve.
We
So
don't need, we don't need the wetlands for the public hearing. We just need
Right.
the wetlands to do.
Approve to either.
That's only on 246. That's not on, or on,
That's on
224,
224.
not 250.
Okay, so again, working backwards from July 13th. In order for me to get that legal notice in, I'm gonna need something essentially no later than like the 24th of June.
okay,
Okay.
10 days.
A little more than 10 days, about 2 weeks from today. Because the first legal notice has to go in between 10 and 15 days before that hearing. So I need to have that first legal notice in essentially by beginning of July. So that involves getting the paper on board, having the legal notice prepared, probably reviewed by council. So 24th of June is really going to be about as late as I can go and still get that legal notice in.
okay.
Okay?
Well, I'd ask the commission to kindly consider setting the hearing for July 13th. And if we can't meet that deadline and provide the information, we'll understand that the July 13th hearing has to be postponed.
Yeah, that's what I was
Do
thinking.
we have what we need to have a meaningful 35-day review period if we did that?
I will send what we have out. If people don't feel they have enough, they'll let me know. I mean, ultimately, the challenge here is I can only ship them what I have. And if they say, come back and they say, I'm sorry, we don't have enough information, I don't know what to tell you, Michael. But the faster they get the information, the faster I will ship it out to our referral agencies.
And I believe our attorney did provide you with a bunch of information. Right?
Yeah, but again, if I'm sending this to other agencies for their review, if I'm sending this up to deep, if I'm sending this to, the other referral agencies we need to send it to, they're going to need enough information to allow them to perform a meaningful review within 35 days. So even if we hold the public hearing on the 13th, if we haven't heard back from DEEP or all these other agencies, they may ask us to leave the hearing open to allow them to get back to us with comments. So again, the faster you get back to me with your materials, the better it's going to be that we have all the referral agencies give us comments back in time for our July 13th meeting.
So the idea of having the public meeting, the hearing on the 13th would be in a position to hopefully put us in a position to approve it, right?
Ideally, they're going to want you to make the decision that night.
So if that's not going to happen, I'm thinking I would be more comfortable setting up a special meeting to set the public hearing once we know we've got a clear line of sight to having the review accomplished and to have a useful public hearing where we had at least a shot at approving it, and then have another special meeting in July to have the public hearing. I know there's two special meetings, one to set it and one to hold it, but I mean, the whole idea of this
The
is.
setting is just a quorum. I mean.
And you're already.
So the idea is we want to be in a position to approve it.
And you're
not just to have the hearing. The
holding-
hearing is a means to the end of approving.
We want you to be in a position to.
Yeah, for sure. If
But I was thinking it would be
Given
easier
that
for
there's-
everybody if it's scheduled as the 13th, we know what deadline we're
I
working.
mean, you're already meeting on the 24th, right? You already have a meeting set for the 24th as it is a special meeting. So we can add it to that agenda.
We could look at what we have by the 24th and we could
set it then.
We could do it at that meeting, possible.
Yeah, I appreciate what Michael's saying, but I'm looking at the fact that we don't have to, if we don't have everything for the 13th, then we just extend the public hearing but we're already in the process. In terms of where we're going, I think if we, have to have something on the agenda to set the public hearing and start it out, I appreciate that we have to send this out to other agencies to review, but I'm looking at DEP. They're gonna look at the location, which we have the location, whatever. They are not gonna look at the erosion sediment control plan. They
No.
never look at the erosion.
And
sediment.
obviously, we
So
know,
what I'm saying is what's missing from the application, what we're saying we need so that we can review, I'm looking at does Rivercog or whoever and DEP, and I don't know who else you have to send it to.
I'll have to look at my referral
We're
agencies.
talking super impactful.
What I'm saying is, are they, the stuff that's missing from the application, the fact that missed one of the abutters, is that it's significant for us for action, but I don't think it's significant for the people who are gonna be doing who need us to see this.
I understand, but again, some of that's also going to depend on what additional changes they're going to ask for regarding, again, the refueling on site and things of that sort. We're sort of operating in the dark, but I happen to agree with you, Denise. I would rather set a public hearing and continue it than not set it. Because at least this way we have something on the calendar. We can open it that night, and if we need to continue it to a special meeting after that date, we can continue it at that time. And at that point, we'll have a better sense as to what referrals we're still missing or what other matters we still need.
I mean, I understand all the stuff we need to do, but I'm looking at the people who are looking at the referrals. They look at stuff in terms of the general concept of what's going on, like DEP is going to say, look at, is it in the significant wetlands or is it, is there a habitat there? They're not going to look at the details that we have to look at to approve a special site plan. So I'm not seeing that there's anything missing. We have an application before us. We have all the details we need to make the decision, but I don't think the referring agencies are going to miss those details.
It's probably worth mentioning that with respect to Deep, all the three beaches are operating under consent orders to remediate the underground pollution and from the septic failures. But the Deep is also funding a substantial portion of the project. So it's not going to be a surprise to Deep, and they know all about what this project is scheduled to be.
So can I just go ahead and make a motion? Maybe set the tone for a public.
Well, I just want to make sure, has everybody had enough discussion, or
Well, she could make a motion. We can continue.
you want to
discuss it.
continue it in that? Okay, so Jane's going to make a motion to
Set it down for public hearing.
To receive-
To
receive
the
and-
application.
and set the public hearing for July 13th. Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Denise. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved? Okay, July 13th meeting.
And we will have all the
500.
information to Eric in a very timely fashion with it.
And I will get you that industrial park information
Thank you
tomorrow
very
morning,
much.
okay?
Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate your
thank
consideration.
you. All right. What is in other? Well, I'll wait till you get squared away then.
So,
Scott.
Jane, I'm gonna give you back this to go with.
Yeah, so somebody from the public.
Yeah.
Please stay hand. What? There we are.
Anything in the other side? Other
No, I have nothing for other.
pre-application discussion? None.
Well,
River Cog representative update.
That's you.
That's me. I can make that brief. There have been two regional housing committee meetings since the last update. The first one, Rivercog went through the basic process and briefed the committee on what we have already heard about just the timeline. At a high level, the Rivercog is going to be working to come up with a regional housing needs assessment between now and early 27. And they are also going to be working to come up with an allocation of that needs assessment in the form of an affordable housing target, a 10-year affordable housing target that they have to deliver by, I think, June of 2027. But they intend to do it sooner if possible, at which point the town will need to, within 30 days, opt in or out adopting the River Cog regional housing plan, or we're going on our own. So that's a year out now that we're looking. The second meeting, they started assembling all the data that would have to be put into the regional housing needs assessment. And it's really preliminary, and they're kind of binning the towns into various buckets regarding population growth or decline, household formation, just the parameters through which that they would start to consider both needs and the allocation.
Is that mostly demographic data?
Yeah, so they're
And economic indicators as well, or?
some, yeah, but a lot of it depends on census data and some of the ACS data that's come out since then.
So where are you getting bucketed?
In an interesting kind of middle ground, there's layers of buckets. Essentially, there's 17 towns in the Lower Connecticut River Valley region,
Mm-hmm.
and at a high level, there's Middletown and the other 16.
Ah,
Okay. And after that, it gets to be finer and finer shades of gray.
yeah.
So one very interesting thing came out at the meeting that I questioned, and we got a first view of it, and it's going to be refined over time and subsequent meetings. But Old Lyme in particular was characterized as having relatively stable growth, but bucking the trend of decreasing household size. We were shown with a very slight increase in household size.
Does that mean? For people having children? Yeah.
Yeah. So how many?
It's
Within,
families.
so there's housing units and then there's households. So the housing unit is the dwelling, and the household size is how many people reside in that dwelling. So we're showing that the trend has been towards shrinking. So
Old Lyme is increasing.
very slightly over the past few years.
Is this also the like, bubble that's going through the school then?
It could be.
That's kind of challenging our projections for how big of the schools we need.
Yeah, it can, but
Because that's a bubble, where my point is that it narrows out.
yeah, so there's been declines in the older kids, but then there's a wave coming in from some of the younger kids. And there's still ripples coming from the pandemic.
Yeah, that was gonna say the pandemic.
So, and these are, I gotta tell you, these are not dramatic changes. They're
Okay.
so go back to the Middletown and the other 16 and,
Yep.
and it runs like that. So interestingly, so the household, the household size went up, and what we haven't seen, when you look at all the numbers they provided, we should see a bump in the vacancy rate, which we haven't seen. So right now I'm saying there's preliminary data, and I have not yet seen it all tick and tie between population, household size, and vacancy rate. And we're unique within the region in that we have an extraordinarily high apparent vacancy rate because of the seasonal residents, us in Westbrook, and to an extent Old Saybrook. So we showed over a third of the housing units in Old Lyme as being vacant, but a lot of those are seasonal. So it's going to be kind of difficult to really validate the data they're coming out with. And then I raised that, and again, I'll say that what we got was just a first look. We haven't even seen. I have not seen the spreadsheets come through from what they presented to us. So this is a work in progress.
Thank you.
And there was nothing definitive about it, but at this point for anyone. But again, I'll go back to we're a year out from making a decision. So I think it behooves us to let them grind on this a little more, come up with some good questions that go back in to validate the conclusions they're coming out with, or even the trends they're identifying. And then probably in the first quarter next year, we're going to need to really roll up our sleeves and see what they have.
Do they make any distinction between the real transit towns and the ones that are, the only reason we're a transit town is we're next to Saybrook? We're not because we have any.
Actually, we are in the eyes of the statute. We are a bona fide transit town.
Next to them.
because of the bus.
No, because of our own transit.
We're not transit adjacent.
Nine-town transit.
Nine-town, that-
Stops here.
Bus that runs-
Oh,
We got a
goody.
bus.
We're a
We got a
transit.
bus.
And we have a bus stop.
Yeah, we got a bus stop.
Are they making any
And what's added,
distinction
but
based on
It's
that?
there.
No, you're either a transit, so there's three things you can be. You can be a transit community, a transit adjacent community. Which we would, if we weren't a transit community, we would have the option of that because Old Saybrook is. And then there are those who are the islands that are neither a transit nor transit adjacent, and even they have the option to opt in as a transit.
But are they being considered differently in terms of the River Cog examination?
Between transit and transit adjacent,
Transit or non-transit? Is every town getting allocated a certain amount of housing based on transit or non-transit?
it won't affect the allocation. What transit status does is give you the opportunity to create a transit district and get access to some funding
Right.
in return for for minimum densities.
Allocation won't be affected by whether you've got transit or not.
The allocation,
Of how many houses there's gonna say each community has to produce.
it'll be a factor in the allocation, but not. My understanding is that's independent of whether you are the transit community that gives you access to the ability to create a transit district and get access to funding.
Yeah, I'm asking nothing about funding.
Okay.
I'm only asking about the
So the
allocation.
transit, yes, it does.
It does or it doesn't?
The transit,
Whether you have transit, irrespective of whether it's considered under the statute or not, is a factor in what.
factor in the allocation. So you,
Yeah, and
yes.
again, how much transit you have and the quality of that transit is all going into the factor of how many units potentially you might be allocated.
One of the other things that came up, and this actually came up, Rivercog did in 2023 to 4, because the fair share law was partially passed and they had the study, they actually did a dry run on an allocation and a regional housing needs assessment. And one of the things that came up there was the transit, and the other thing that came up was infrastructure, sewer in particular. And because that's a more significant factor even, is sewer infrastructure. And one of the things that Rivercog did initially, and I think that the OPM did it as well, is had the existence of sewer as a factor, not the remaining capacity of the system. So actually, correct me on this, Eric, but I think OPM is on the hook. They're overdue actually to come up with a capacity analysis of existing sewer systems that will actually go into the.
That was due in June, and it's not.
Oh, and we got that letter just again reminding us that we may not expand the sewer systems in the beach areas because those consent orders prohibit it.
Yep.
So that's where we have sewers, but they're not going to be usable by us.
And the Clean Water Act funding affects that as well.
I just wonder whether this level of consideration is really going to be done, because there's so many things. You know, there's reasons why Old Lyme doesn't have a lot of this stuff. It's that we do have the historical beach areas. They've turned out to be pretty difficult, you know, in the modern age to service those people, and we know what's going to happen. So it's really not the target area where we'd want to say, well, let's put some more housing there.
And it doesn't exist yet, so.
Yeah, well, you just wouldn't want to do that. You wouldn't want, and it's not in, I don't think that was where anybody in the planning commission ever suggested that we should locate more dense housing is in the beach areas, because we already tried that. It's basically an experiment that we know isn't working out in the 21st century.
Without the proper infrastructure.
And we're not alone in it.
Well, even with the proper, it was all laid out in a way that's not really.
And we're not alone, all the way up the river to Middletown.
Yeah. Michael, when they look at that, obviously they're looking at transit, and I understand that to a point. One of the challenges I see, depending on where they want housing, is access to jobs. And that means that you can't the transit has to provide access to jobs, or you have to have jobs in your community. And how do they figure that economic model in? Cause that's, or don't they at all? Cause I think that's a real challenge, and it's definitely a challenge if all of a sudden they say more housing and it can just take over your commercial zone if you don't do anything about it, cause then you're not gonna have any jobs.
Yeah, and actually that was, so Rivercog opposed
Yes.
the fair share legislation. And one of the points of opposition was that it would effectively turn into a relocation program for people who were close to their jobs to be farther away from their jobs in affordable housing where the cost of transportation are a factor in affordability. So it was just,
Yeah.
It-
Yeah.
Cause I think that, cause those are the things that, we need to be talking about. It's like,
so,
Well, and it wasn't that long ago where the Nine-Town Transit was going bankrupt.
Well, are they still, they must be publicly funded because I don't see how.
They did get some public funding. They went through a reorg, but I mean, is that what they're basing the fact that we're transferring, what we have the
Well,
Nine-Town Transit?
And they merged with Middletown, right? So.
Well, yeah, I mean.
yeah.
I
And
mean,
does that Nine-Town Transit really serve
I would guess that
commuters,
that's like
or is it really
95%
just like
funded. By
get from here to there
public, right?
sometimes?
buses are empty.
I know, I see them. It's like one
So,
or two people.
so looking at Old Lyme uniquely, there are unique aspects that the whole idea of the seasonal resident, the seasonal units we have artificially inflate our base count of housing units by about 35%. So that's something we have to work with Rivercog on getting an adjustment there. The whole vacancy aspect, we're showing a much higher vacancy rate than our real vacancy rate. And part of there's almost an assumption that some fraction of this vacancy can be converted into year round. So we have
That's not even a fact, but even with the sewers, like they still have to meet the health code and all the other
Exactly.
variables of
So-
the building code.
So when you look at it through the narrower lens of what's unique about Old Lyme and how do we make sure our allocation number comes out right, I think that's going to be a point of close attention. The transit, I think, will be as well, just so we don't get lumped in as assuming because we have a checkbox and that we're a transit community that
It's not really transit.
The train.
that we have
We have a train that goes through us, but not.
And once we,
based on the bus line is
once we have this allocation, does the 10% go away?
no 830G remains in full force and effect. Now, actually, that's
What is the effect of this allocation?
the effect of this allocation is that the housing growth plan that is also mandated as part of PA 25-1 is the plan is to achieve that target in 10 years.
But what if we don't? Because some of this is, I mean, we haven't achieved the 10%. So
The sticks have not been fully defined, but what has been discussed is mostly in the form of funding, access to funding.
yeah, which we don't usually get anyway.
Right. So,
I don't know.
Before you move on here, we received a special permit application today from the Adams. You traditionally, or by statute, for 6 Lieutenant River Lane. The owner, Daniel Adams, Jillian Adams is here in the audience. Under standard rules, you can't accept an application the day you get it. However, she has requested that you receive it or add it to your agenda to be received and set a public hearing, so she doesn't need to wait until September for a public hearing. So I don't know if you want to say any more on it. Or...
Hi, Jonathan Adams, my husband, Dan and I, bought 6 Lieutenant River Lane, in November. We've been working with our architect, Brooke Gertie, to come up with some plans. I think they're relatively minor in scale. Adding a room over a dining room, not expanding the footprint there, and expanding, very slightly in the back of the house. It is on the river. So there's the Gateway Commission, I believe.
Yeah, the reason they're in front of you is because it's a gateway special permit application. Otherwise, it's a single family house, you wouldn't be seeing this.
So it's over 4,000.
Over 4,000 square feet, therefore it's a special permit. That's what brings it in front of you. You're going to be getting a lot of these going forward, I expect. It also has a KEAM application because of the nature of what it's doing here. And again, usually you have to receive it the day following it coming to the office. But again, given the fact that you're not meeting in August, she has requested you guys set a public hearing for July.
You just heard who you're gonna join at that public hearing and be
Yeah.
after.
We could set it, but depending on time, how long it takes for the other one. It may get pushed, but I mean, does anyone have any problem if we set it for July?
Well, what, if it's I mean, Eric, have
It's
you?
not gonna take much.
Well, I was just gonna say, can we just put it first? on
I
the
was,
agenda?
let's put it first.
We've
Sure.
kind of gone through this
That's a good
before,
point. Let's
with
put it
respect
first.
For a single family home.
Good idea.
Just put it first
Right?
on the agenda.
I would agree.
Let's do that.
Is it, I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, Eric, I mean, is
Just
it?
briefly,
I mean,
one
it's a
thing,
special permit, but it's only, not only, because it's over 4,000 square feet, but is there any other red flags that you're seeing in there? That
nothing other than I need to modify it. They're using the old section numbers, so I need to have them
Yeah.
update the application for the new section numbers and the new regs. But there's nothing in here. Again, it's a standard McDonald Sharp application here. They do pretty good work.
Yeah,
So I'm relatively confident that I'm not going to see anything major on the application. And as was indicating, they're not really changing the footprint dramatically, but because we're talking 4,000 plus square feet, it has to go through special permit process.
Sorry, if you're willing to work with the applicant to go through that set of findings we have to make for the 4,000-foot
Mhm.
thing, then perhaps the hearing could be well structured to go.
Okay.
Move
I
forward.
will make sure that they know what they need to show and we'll get it set up ahead of time. Okay.
And it'll be the first public hearing on the agenda.
Well, Amy's taking down the notes on it and I'll make sure that Craig knows to put it first. Okay.
All right.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we accept her application and set it down for July 13th.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second, oh, poor Michael got it first, sorry.
Ladies first.
Michael seconded.
Always
Got
nice.
it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, it's approved, 500. See you next month.
appreciate your time.
All right, and the last item on the agenda,
Was there anything else on the River Cog anybody wanted? I think.
I don't know, any other questions for
We
Michael?
could talk all day and all night. for a
Okay,
long
well,
time.
all right, so moving on.
We love you, James.
We love you, but moving on, right.
My family has been getting it lately and they leave the room.
That sounds like my family.
Well,
Don't even wanna-
listen, we're close to doing that, so just hang on.
Don't want to hear it.
Okay, approval of the May minutes, June, right, it's May minutes. I will take a motion, first of all, that to approve the May minutes,
So moved.
so moved by Jane Marsh. Now, is there any discussion? And I knew there's discussion number one down there. Mary Gardner
I'll second.
had a second, I'm sorry.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Additional discussion. You had a comment on the
Right,
minutes.
that, yeah, because I was
He's not
not at the
present.
meeting, and I
Yeah.
was marked present, and I was marked voting, actually.
Yeah,
I wasn't
it's,
at the meeting.
that's tough. When I don't attend the meeting and
it's
there's not a
fine.
roll call,
Yeah.
like I could have sworn I heard your voice,
Yeah,
but
that's-
yeah, I've got that marked.
So that was
Do
the
it, do
first
I
one.
need to figure out who did that motion
Figured it was here.
then? Because I've got Mary Gardner down for one
It was her
motion.
ghost.
It was the ghost of Mary Gardner.
Which motion?
I mean, I'm not sure we should go back and, let's not worry about it.
I'm not worried about
If somebody complains, we'll just say she had to leave or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was.
She came in like real quick.
Seconding that meeting, it's probably was.
Yeah, somebody was Mary Jo. Yeah,
just put-
but I mean,
just
only
put-
if,
yeah,
only if
just-
somebody asks.
Let's put somebody else in.
That's all.
just
Mary,
like somebody.
Mary Jo will fall in her.
Mary,
sword.
Mary,
I'll take it.
it wasn't controversial. We approved it unanimously.
Right.
It is what it
Pretty
is.
sure it was.
All right, that was one. Is there any additional discussion?
Jane had an issue.
Yes, but I think Eric, you helped reword it. Because if you recall, Eric disappeared out there because we were closing the public hearing on this, Ms. Shansky's application. And Eric disappeared out there and came back in. Because he had thought in advance, I think, or maybe she signaled to him, I'm not sure. But it wasn't the commission that decided, it was a request from somebody and Eric had it. He worded it quite nicely. Did he gave that wording
Yeah.
to you, didn't he?
Yeah, I've got it. Let's see here. So you had said, well, let me just read it because I updated it during the meeting and it's garbage. Okay, so you just say, rephrase it to something in the order of LOC NAP related to the commission, a concern raised by Attorney Shansky.
Right, that's why.
So I'll add that in there. That's
Okay.
all I heard, unless there's anything else.
Anything additional? Okay, so all in favor of approving the May 11th meeting minutes with the 2 corrections? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Approved 500.
Okay.
Anybody want to adjourn?
Oh, you don't want to hear some more from me?
Well, I'm not getting a motion to adjourn, so maybe so. I don't know.
I'd just like to say that I thought the workshop was really good. I would just want
Yeah,
that.
we'd like to hear.
I would really like to say, I thought, Francisco and his team did a great job. I think we had about 25 people. I think they moved the meeting well. I don't know how anyone else
I
feels.
felt a little uncomfortable because there were so many zoning commission members there and because there were so few other people there, it sort of forced us to participate.
Yeah, and
Instead of listen.
Yes.
And I think one of the things on that is, my concern is I don't want to lead the conversation. I don't want to either enhance what they're saying, either agree nor disagree. I think if anything, we should just be there. And if they can't get a point up on the board, help them bring the point over. Just have them say, so are you really saying this? And not really don't get engaged with them, okay? I don't think we should do that.
I think it's impossible though, because the level of understanding of the public of what we even do at zoning and what we can do and what we can't do is very remote. So when you're trying to have these meetings and collect their ideas, if their ideas are that, something's supposed to happen in the beach areas or something, and that you have to rezone the whole beach area, well, you can't because.
No, but Jane, it's important that we're here to listen to their opinions, even if we disagree with them.
No,
even if it's
not a
impossible.
matter of agreement. It's a matter of their information.
I understand, but once you start pushing back on them, you're discouraging them from giving their information.
I've done this I did this for 40 years at Pratt with customers, with our parts suppliers. The minute you start engaging with them, they're not going to talk.
Yep, shut them down.
You'll totally shut them down. Let them talk. Let them see their words up on the board. And then you go back and as you're going through this, then you have that discussion. But truly, honestly, I know my stuff on this, and I've facilitated thousands of people, not only here, but across, the globe.
And again, that's part of why we have the next session in a couple of weeks is to have the experts filter what we've heard and try and translate it into regs. And if there's stuff that we heard that's just not going to translate into regs, then that's when we can say, yeah, we heard this comment. We're really not able to do anything with that. Let's put it aside and work with the rest of the comments there. But pushing back in real time against people who came out wanting to share their opinions is just not a recipe for.
I don't think any commission.
And not debate with them.
I didn't think that was an issue at all, but I think.
Back, it was just.
It's just, but again, just a fair warning out there, and you may help them, or they might feel better that you help them, but that next person who wanted to say something similar, but says to themselves, I don't think I'm going to say anything because we discussed that. But the problem is what they wanted to say had a different golden nugget in that we miss.
To help them, a lot of times someone who isn't familiar will express their opinion about what they want you to do rather than what they want the outcome to be. And if you can guide the discussion and say, well, what do you want this to look like? What are you trying to achieve? And not get into the debate about how you do it or what zoning, what reg you have to change or what bulk standard you have to change, and say, well, what do you want this to look like at the end? Then we can come in and try to prioritize those and figure out, well, what changes do we need to get there if it makes the cut? But I agree with Paul, having done a bunch of this, that
I think
if you start to debate it in real time,
And
you
again,
lose the
I'm getting
opportunity to
the
listen.
vibes that maybe I was in a different group than you guys, because our group, I felt that Francisco's staff did a really good job of clearly saying, you know, what's the concern? And then we'd get into solutions on the next one. And I thought they did a really good job. Now, did we get all the concerns out there? Probably not, because people, to your point, weren't really sure what they were going to do. But I thought that when we did the comparison between the groups, there was some similarity. So I was sort of resolved.
Especially the second time.
Yeah.
around, Yeah.
So I thought, okay, so that then I think people were heard. But the key for me was when they did the little survey at the beginning. Yeah, so it was very clear from the start where majority of the people were. There were a few outliers. But I think that really helped set the tone for the conversation. And I think they did a really good job. If I, you know, was somebody spending money on this, which we are, I would say it brought to me that we picked the good group for this. I felt very, very satisfied. And I felt like the majority of the people felt heard. Maybe 25 wasn't a big number, but on the other hand, if you had too big a group, I don't know that people would share. So
To your point about the 25, as I almost wanted to ask the question is, by a show of hands, how many people were on board land use commissions that were part of the 25? Because that was my concern, is that we had a significant amount of people at 25 coming, but I would like to say at least 17 or 18 of the 25 were land use board members already. So we really only got content from 12 or 15 who have no prior land use board understanding. So that was my concern, is how do we get more of the public engaged that's outside of our land use boards?
I think that's the trick we've had through the beginning.
Of course, absolutely, absolutely.
But I felt there were people in the group that I've never seen before in my group. This woman sitting in front of me was very eloquent. And I questioned her at the end. So what do you do? Where are you?
Was that younger woman?
Huh?
Was she like a bit younger?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she sat over in the right corner over there. Like
No,
No,
in the back, in the butt, but she was to the right of the easel.
Right in front of
Yes.
me. Yes. So I really felt like people were heard and people had some really substantive concerns. I think people addressed what Edie Twining put out front and what Joe Kamian had said. That really helped having them first, because that got people thinking in response. And this is a tough thing to do, as Paul knows, really tough thing to do. It's never going to be
So
perfect.
I want to make sure I'm understanding then, and I apologize, I wasn't able to be there, but is the suggestion then that, I mean, obviously we need to be there so we can hear it, but that we play a silent partner kind of role, that we are just in listening mode?
that we tend to listen and see if what we're hearing is getting put
Yeah,
on the board.
that's-
If that's really,
Because
if they can't say it,
If the consultant is facilitating it, I also
Yeah.
wouldn't want to get in the, in.
Yeah.
out in
they
front of
were
the
they were
consultant.
capturing it.
They're a facilitator.
But we
and
might
so-
know a little bit more as to
Does it
what they
matter,
might be
though?
trying to say. So then it's really just a matter of phrasing it.
Yeah, okay.
So are you trying to say,
That's clarifying
Yeah,
question.
or-
yeah, open-ended questions.
what is this or is this? So that's that's what we're trying to get at.
Would not be a full participant.
There you
That's
go.
what I want to make sure we're not expected to be doing.
There were situations where someone was referring to something local that the facilitator wasn't really aware of.
Yeah,
And so you needed somebody from the town, from the commission, to be able to jump in and say, are you referring to this?
no, that's great.
Yeah.
No, it's really, I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to.
But you don't want to,
Yeah.
and then if you say something and if they start discussing amongst themselves, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. But now listen to what they're saying and saying, so you're saying,
For what it's worth, I had a conversation with someone who attended, who came in went in very skeptical. And was, as you noted, was really impressed with Gomes and his team and how they handled it, and was a lot more positive about the whole process overall
good,
than when they went into it.
Good.
Like they came to start poking holes in
Good.
things.
So that's
So one person at a time.
So the one thing I would say about other board members attending, you don't know what they're going to say. It could be something about the board, but understand possibly that's not the opinion of the whole board. So I think that there's still residents and some folks, and I'll just give, we know Edie spoke, and so she gave us the information on the Halls Road. But when she also gave public comments about the land trust, which isn't a board. So, people come and they have different lives besides just the board they serve on.
For sure. Oh, yeah, and I didn't mean to say that their value, their opinion's not important.
No,
It was just an observation.
Yeah.
That how can we get more of the general public?
Well, I think
Do you have ideas about how to get the general?
I'm trying to talk to anyone I talk to, just someone made a Facebook comment today, like, make sure you take the survey. I'm like, don't just take the survey, show up in person.
Yeah.
Like, we need these people, we need butts in the seat, because that's where, like, the work's really gonna happen.
Yeah.
I tell everybody.
Me too.
And I expect the residential one in July will be well attended.
You would think, but
We'll see.
Surveys, the shoreline,
Sunny day.
the Shoreline Gateway did the survey. They got 1,900 respondents in a few months. So we're pretty far behind that at this point.
Well, again,
Shoreline Gateway, how many towns?
Oh, just old lines.
Just, oh, jeez.
again,
We're very far behind.
Yeah, we are behind, but again, Craig has been sort of putting these out. He's gone up and puts them at the library. He's gone and handed them out in Long Halls Road. So we're trying to sort of get word out more, and it was sort of the top line item on Martha's newsletter.
It should go out every week in her newsletter. She sends a newsletter every week. It should be in every week's newsletter.
Yeah. Can we take the survey or should we taint it?
Too many people.
I hadn't taken it yet because I wasn't sure if we were.
Anybody can take it.
You can
I
take
know, I
it.
think it is, but is the
Nobody
agreed consensus among the group?
Yeah, unless you have a reason to go there.
I don't think there is a consensus. I haven't taken it yet either for the same reason.
Okay.
I was like, I'll have a lot of input.
No, but not anybody that.
Yeah, good.
Goes to the town website. I mean, telling them
I mean, the truth is, if we get 500 responses, your one marginal vote isn't probably going to make that much of a difference. But I think your input is needed as a member of the community.
it should be on the Facebook page regularly too.
You know how we have this reverse 911 system? I don't know what it's called in town.
Agreed.
Could we use that to put, could Martha's team put a message out reminding people?
No, we asked her about it
Oh,
way
boy.
back, I feel like, and they said no, didn't they?
I believe so. I will double check
Yeah.
that with her. But
Yeah, because I had a breakfast meeting this morning with educated people and they told me they haven't heard anything about this.
Yeah.
Well, because they put so much reliance on the town website, but I'm sorry, people aren't just going to the town website for fun to look
Exactly.
at
You're
it.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, it has to be on Facebook, it has to be on social media, it's gotta be in the newspapers, it's gotta be consistently put out there, not just once, but twice.
So
like,
it is,
and-
so it is on the town Facebook page. So if you haven't liked it and shared it with your groups.
But if it's only been posted on there once, it's just gonna fall to the bottom of the line. It needs to be reposted ever so often.
And it also has to be,
We also talked about taking out, like an ad, whether it be in Limeline or
Should be both.
something else in some of the
It
other.
should be CT
local-
Examiner and
Yeah,
Limelight, 'cause
CT.
they got good readership in
Yeah.
this area, both of them.
I thought we talked about that a couple of months ago. As a way, to your point. to
Or
get
even like
bigger.
a sponsored Facebook listing that is specifically targeting old Lyme households.
you can, and I don't know if they would, but you can definitely
The
pin,
examiners.
you can pin the survey to the top of the Facebook page.
That's Facebook, which is awesome. So let's do that 100%.
Sometimes they do free stuff though.
But in addition to, not in
Sometimes
place
do
of,
it, yeah.
we should pay to put it out there as a public notice.
I mean, I think the sponsored ad, gotta figure, so many thousands of people are on Facebook locally within our community, right? And I'm not trying to support one platform over another. I'm just trying to think of the best way to disseminate information. And maybe it is a sponsored ad specific to Old Lyme.
Do we have a neighborhood association list that we could send it out to all the neighborhood associations? Because that's why the Gateway thing went someplace, is they very specifically go to the neighborhoods. And I know I used to use this in Greenwich. If I wanted to get something out, I went through the neighborhood associations because
You
they were
guys-
really good about
Do you
doing
have
it.
like a Chestnut Hill Facebook group?
Oh, but we do have an email.
Yeah, we have an email
Yeah.
chain.
Okay. I think that is a good idea, to your point, like try to tack into some of these, I mean, you can take some of these major HOAs that we have, and we don't have many
Well,
HOAs.
let's check with Katie and see
All
if
the
she's
beach
got
associations.
all the
do.
beach
Yeah, all the beach-
associations.
yeah, like these
It
guys
should
that were just
go
here
out for
tonight,
all
like-
The survey stuff should go out.
They all have associations. They all have associations and they've got email.
Correct.
But I don't want to do just the beach associations because that will skew this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it needs to
Definitely,
be-
the Rogers Lake West Association, right? And,
But Rod,
and,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, there's I mean, they have to have a list of all the associations.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
There used to be one in town hall. I don't know about right now, but when I was a selectman, we did have a list of all of that. So I
Sure you-
suspect.
I'm sure
They
you do.
Probably had the taxing.
Yeah,
associations.
exactly.
Not everyone taxes, but a lot of them do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. In fact.
Because then, and they should also get, the notice of the community.
Is this up where everyone's getting their beach passes? Is this little placard up?
I feel like I
Your
almost,
beach passes?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Right there?
Is it one of Paulson's?
I feel like these questions that were asked on the survey here, like, we need to get more people to answer these questions than we had in this room, right?
Yeah.
Because that'll really tell us more relevant data. Because these are really great questions.
Yeah, well, the full survey has, like you
Has a
said,
demographic.
has the same types of things.
So Eric, is this next to where people get their beach passes?
I'll have to go out and take a look.
Let's do that. I love that. I mean, I love that Craig is running it around and I'm just trying to think of like where we've got foot traffic. So how can we move forward then on getting a paid Facebook, paid Limelight, paid Connecticut
I'll
Examiner?
have to call around and just see how to do that. I'm not familiar with how we do that, but we have the materials from Gomes, we can send over to them to get put in there. What it will cost, I don't entirely know, but again, I will try and make some
Well, your
calls tomorrow.
subcommittee can do the legwork. I'm asking you, is that something we can do? Do we have money to be able to do that? And is that
Not
something
especially, but I mean.
the
you know, it
commission
shouldn't
would
if
be
it's-
willing to?
If
try
it's
to
not
find money?
wildly expensive, I will find that, we have miscellaneous line items in there. I will try and find, room for to make it. If it's 3 digits, I can probably make it happen. If it's 5 digits, no, I can't. So it's really gonna come down to how much money we're talking about to try and get this out there. But again, within limits, I have some money to make this happen. So it really is gonna come down to how much it costs to put it on whatever the platform is. And I'll figure out what those numbers look like, and then we'll just have to go from there. But if it's a reasonable number, I will work to make that happen.
Somebody in Chestnut Hill, somebody's got to know somebody in Chestnut Hill. Like, there's a lot of houses in that neighborhood. We can try to get into that email list. Not Chestnut Hill, I'm sorry. One on Browns Lane. Peppermint Ridge. That's the one I meant, sorry. Oak Ridge.
Can you look for the association list?
Yeah, I have it on my thing here.
Awesome. Thank you. That's great.
I think if we can get some to some of the parents, I think that will help spread the word, some key parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, any of the other, groups, PTA.
I mean, I get 1,000 notices from the school like every week. I mean, be incorporated into one of their things.
Yeah, gonna be really noticed.
So no one's gonna look at them, is the problem.
Yeah, you're right.
Make sure your kid on the last day from school brings this home. So
Maybe when you're going out to notify, as you had said, the chairs of all the boards and commissions, if you could ask them to put that on their agenda to remind their commissions to do that.
Yeah.
I know the historical district is doing it tonight.
My Marty, wow.
They're doing the survey?
They're telling everybody to do the survey.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah, I think we finally have gotten there. But so it took a while, and
Yeah.
that was a big issue.
considering we had a little bit of a handicap with
But they're re-roofing it without having.
with our commission, the limping
That's all
along
pink. That's why I was
commission.
asking. Now that I knew about the roof.
And
You
the only
can't
thing
even
is,
make, you can't even make it up that
Zoning
the
doesn't
staff,
have anything
the
to
chair,
say
the
about
vice chair had
Building
surgery,
permit,
we
yeah,
all had surgery within a week and a half.
But
of
yeah,
each other.
HDC is angry that they're
Yeah, told me.
re-roofing.
It was like, you can't even make that up. And I was like, so I'm like, Martha, can you? And I
It's like
said,
a mountain out of a molehill.
It's
I like your little.
from the limping commission. He was laughing at me. It was like, you do have to understand.
Blue Star.
It's like you can't even make it up.
No, you can't. What happened to him? Huh? What happened to her? Huh?
How
All right.
could that possibly be? The two of us did have scheduled. but he had-
Let's make it,
Advertising the military.
All right, let's make it nice. It's almost 9:00 and then we can adjourn. It's like a nice round number. Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Thank you. 9 PM. Bingo.
Thanks for all your help with everything.
Okay.
Eric, do you need any of these documents?